Hello. Hello, Double Red, Xor, Young Moon, Kit. Welcome. How are you all doing this fine day? Hello, welcome. I was just... Okay, so, you know, I watched a playthrough of Undertale, like, around when it came out, probably, I think, but I forgot everything. I forgot everything after, and then I was never, like, super into it. But my friend started playing it semi-recently, so I've been watching her. But she just got to the part, so I've, like, forgotten everything now, you know? But she got to the part where you, like, go into the lab, and there's, Alphys, and you meet Mettaton for the first time. It was so funny. Alphys. She's so silly. Sunday Funday, spoilers. This is, like, maybe a little more than 2 hours into the game. But yeah. That's what I was up to earlier today. I only waited 30 minutes, really? Actually, I have not played it much either. Like, I have it on Steam. I don't know. I don't think I got very far. Let me see, actually. How much time did I spend playing? Library. Yeah, I only like the soundtrack. I see. Oh, really? I've played for 3.6 hours. It's more than I thought. I wonder how far I got, actually. I really don't remember anything. I only like the soundtrack. Yeah, the music is good, though. I like the music on the rest. Oh, but, what was I gonna say? There was also, I don't remember. I don't remember. Oh! So, also earlier today, she was doing the like actually wait, is it? It's Undine, right? Not Undine. Or is it Undine? I think it's Undine. But she like chases you at some point, right? And it's like every time she catches up to you, you have to do the stuff, the little battle with her. But at some point along the way, you know, Sans is just like in a stand, like his workplace, but he's like sleeping. And my friend kept on trying to like talk to him, but he would not wake up. Sans Undertale. But yeah. Oh yeah, I guess. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Last time, at the end of the stream, I think OBS just crashed. But I updated it today, so hopefully that will not happen again. Hopefully. But yeah, so I was gonna say that. And then... Oh yeah. I got to go to the arcade the other day also, which was a lot of fun. I love arcades. I got to play Waka, which is always fun, but I keep on... I feel like I should start to carry, like, gloves with me at all times, you know, just in case. Just in case there's, like, you know, I end up going to the arcade or something. It wasn't, like, really planned to go, but... Yeah, I did play a little bit of DDR. Listening to mine finish doing something on my favorite. Oh no, yeah, it was my OBS. I don't know what happened there. I was just like, hello, can you guys hear me? And then I went to check on YouTube and it was just gone. I was like, oh. Yeah, gotta have that code good 24/7. You know it. Oh man, Waka's fun, but it's like, I think I'm like okay at reading the maps overall and stuff. But I'm not very good at the like Waka specific things. Like when it's like going all around, you know? And then you have to like your arms. I feel like my arms always get like tangled. But it's so fun. But yeah. Okay. Let me start. Get those noodle arms. I mean... Is he able to play all the songs with the hardest difficulty last time, but I got so tired quickly? It really do be like that. What is the hardest difficulty in Waka, actually? Is it, like... 14 question? How high does it go? I didn't get to play for like too long, so... But... What were we doing last time? We just got our cell phone. Oh, that's right, there was the, I guess she has black hair, though it looks more like purpley in the game, but... We saw her in the streets and she was like, can you see? Always wanted to try DDR. I spent plenty of time and also in VTube and VR. I hope it's not prepared for it. Yeah, maybe. I feel like there definitely are some like rhythm game skills that carry over between games. And I got to play Pump It Up too, which I always love. I think I was able to pass. I think this might have been like an easier one, but I think I might have passed a 9. It was fun. There are just like some patterns that I don't know how to read, but... Hi, hello, just a normal person, welcome. But also, I think it was either 14 or 15. I see. Waka. It's fun. Now let me turn the gain up a bit. Dibbidi da dee ba doo doo dee ba dibby doo. Dibbidi bidi 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 dee ba dibbidi doo. Yeehaw! Yeah, that's good. Is your wife okay? Well. You're talking about Yua, right? She's fine. But it turns out she did approach us for a reason. Actually, maybe I would turn it down a little bit. Like, she showed us the chat log with Shogun and she was like, this was you. the timestamps don't match up. So I don't know if we have that much money. I mean, I guess we're making some with ESO, but okay, let me continue. Load this one. Oh, that's right. I left it to my future self to make the choice with the delusion. Darn. The consequences of my actions, I must now choose. She'd actually swung the sword. Okay. That's why I was say that time. That one delusion in the hospital. That was crazy. So cool to true. Okay, you know what we saved? Let me try seeing a red delusion this time. I feel like it might be scary, but hopefully it wouldn't be too bad, right? Got any nightmares? Nope, actually. Oh, that scared me. Wait, I think my volume is a little high, maybe. Okay. Cowering on the spot, I covered my head. How do you thank you? Hello, G6. Welcome. Oh, wait. that reminds me also. Like the song, like a G6, keeps on coming up when I hang out with my friend. It keeps on coming up. Like a G6. No, I'm feeling so fly. Like the other day, we were going somewhere, and then the song came up like in the car, not like on the radio. I think it was like I think my friend just put it up purposefully. But then the friend who was driving like changed the like mixing of the car audio to make it just extremely bass boosted. And then I was like, I was dropped off and it was still playing. And then my friend, they had like the window down to like talk to me to say goodbye. Well, then she was like, if I close the window, can you only like hear the bass? And she closed the window and I could like feel it from outside the car. Silly. But yes, anyways. It's so funny. But whenever I hear it, I always think of that, like, there's like a hamster movie, right? Where they're like in the they might have superpowers, and I think they may be in like hamster balls and stuff. But I think there might have been like that song in it, right? Or like G-Force, yay! I think so. Oh, were they guinea pigs? Wait, let me look it up, actually. Oh, also, I figured out the reason why my mouse like the sensitivity was so low at the end last time was because there's like a button on my mouse that changes the, is it DPI of it, and so I must have accidentally pressed it and not realized. But that was what it was. Yeah, G-force. Does it actually play in it? Or was that like a made-up memory? Oh, music. Wait, it's not in there. The soundtrack also contains I Got a Feelin' and Boom Boom Pow, Black Eyed Peas, Just Dance, Lady Gaga, Colby O'Donnell's Jump, Flight and Nelly Furtado, Don't Ya, Mexicano, Ready to Rock, How Do You Sleep, Falling Down, Oh Fortuna. Is like a G6 not in the movie? Like a G6. First thing that comes up is a TikTok, and the title is I used to think G6 was a theme song for the movie G-Force. I guess they were around the same time, maybe, so I guess they got mixed up. There's a wiki page too for like a G6. You have to read the tips? I am reading them mostly. I guess, yeah, at the end of last time I left them to read for this time, right? My voice was dead. Okay, I guess we can do that first then. I can't believe it wasn't in the movie. Okay. Let me get rid of some of these tabs real quick. Okay. It was just a fever dream. I guess so. Well, I guess it's also just because they both just have G in the name. But, okay, let me read this line and then we can read the tips. If I hadn't dodged, it would have hit my head for sure. I doubted it would have cut me, but with that kind of force behind it, it would have given me a concussion and permanently dented my skull. Okay. And tips. Oh, there are actually quite a few, huh? I don't remember there being this many, but I guess so, huh? Tsundere, girl who is usually aloof and acerbic, tsun, but becomes affectionate, dere, when alone with her romantic interest. However, the definition has become more broad recently. Let me go from the bottom now. But I know, it came up. I thought I was going insane. Short for the full quote, I'll tell you exactly what happened. I blank, but before I knew it, blank. I'm sure you don't understand what I'm saying, but I don't really understand it either. I thought I was going insane. It wasn't anything simple like hypnosis or super speed. On top of that, I feel as if I only got to experience the tip of the iceberg. Quotation from a popular manga about bizarre adventures, often used in order to cope with difficult to understand situations in a comedic fashion. GTFO. Yeah. Nut slang. So used to tell someone to go away, or a phrase talking about leaving in general. It can also be used to express disbelief. Optical illusion, also known as a visual illusion, a phenomenon in which information is perceived incorrectly, but the person perceiving it is still able to logically discern that it is incorrect. This can happen regardless of the person's mental state. One of the most famous examples of this is the Muller-Lyer illusion. Sight is established when the light received by the eyes is transmitted to the cerebrum via the optic nerve. Once it reaches that location, it acts as a stimulus, and the light information is translated into what we perceive as sight. However, this process involves extrapolating the structure of the external world based purely on light information, which is only made possible by utilizing a filter of empirical data. This leaves room for errors in perception. There is a theory that states that optical illusions occur when an error is generated as a result of the brain operating under a cause and effect hypothesis, but arriving at a false conclusion. In this case, the conclusion based on one's experiences up until that point does not match up with reality, causing dissonance. As well as this, there is a theory that humans block out 99% of what they perceive. It is said that if a person were to process all 100% of what they perceive, they would not be able to remain sane. Let me drink some water, actually. WTF. An expletive used to represent any number of emotions such as anger, surprise, confusion, etc. A popular alternative is a shortened TF, e.g. the F is going on. Electromagnetic waves. Waves that exhibit properties of both electricity and magnetism, first formally postulated by James Clerk Maxwell in 1864. The electric field and magnetic field's oscillations cause them to mutually propagate each other, resulting in a wave that radiates through its surroundings. For that reason, these waves are referred to as electromagnetic radiation. Electromagnetic EM waves are divided by frequency into radio waves, infrared light, visible light, X-rays, extraviolet light, and gamma rays. Electromagnetic waves have long been thought to have harmful effects on the human body, but the World Health Organization, WHO, has made a statement claiming that there is no scientific foundation behind the idea, nor any evidence that supports a causal relation between the two. However, there is currently no evidence that disproves a relationship either. Video game addict. A term used to refer to someone that stays in the room and constantly plays video games for exceedingly long periods of time, often foregoing food, sleep, etc. 5G towers. That's why we love you. Short for the full quote, that's why we love you, that's why we admire you. A quotation from a popular manga about bizarre adventures, used to express awe at someone's capabilities, often used sarcastically in reference to negative character traits such as pettiness. Bait. In fishing, it means to add bait to a hook. In net slang, however, it means to bait out reactions from people via posting provocative opinions or false information. The person doing the baiting then enjoys watching the angry reaction should the victim take the bait. Often abbreviated as bait. Bait. Reminds you of someone? Crashing. When a program or operating system stops functioning and closes. A number of web pages are designed to overload web browsers or cause the operating system to behave abnormally. Links to such pages are frequently posted on anonymous message boards without any form of warning, and in the worst-case scenario, they can have serious effects on the computer of whoever visits the page. Yeah, Rule 34. Theatrical crime, a type of crime committed under full view of the public. These crimes and their subsequent investigations are reported on in detail by the mass media, who treat it almost as if it's a TV special. Adding to this effect, the perpetrators will sometimes even send a declaration of their crimes. It is extremely easy for theatrical crimes to sow disorder and chaos. For example, some individuals may view the criminal as a hero, and some may even be inspired to commit their own similar crimes. The latter individuals are known as copycat criminals. One-shot video game terminology: to kill an entity with a single attack. Okay. Back. Alright. I hated pain! I was so shaken that my speech got all messed up. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Maybe it was a good volume. Alright, I'm gonna get a bit. Oh, we're woozy. Okay. Let's see what happens this time. Oh yeah, it is used like that too, huh? Oh, just her in general. Hi. She said, "You can see me, right?" Me, as in the person standing in front of me, girl B. Very loyal. Suddenly, girl B's expression twisted in misery, and she crouched down in front of me. With her eyes on the same level as mine, her gaze seemed to almost plead with me.
私、誰にも見つけてもらえなくて、どれだけ声を出しても、誰にも届かなくて、体はすり抜けちゃうし、寒いし、ほら、見て、私、足も透けちゃって、自分に何が起きたのか、さっぱり、もう、何年も、何十年も、この場所、さまよっていたような気がする。
Oh god. Was she a ghost? No, that was ridiculous. I didn't have the power to see ghosts. I didn't have anything even like that.
ずっと探してた。私を見つけてくれる人、ありがとう。
No problem.
ありがとう。お礼に。
As a reward. I'm scared.
お前に取り付いてやる。
Green. Okay. I guess that was it. That wasn't so bad, actually.
答えろ。見える。
I mean, but now I'm really curious what would happen in the other one, but it's like, you know, with what we've seen so far. But I feel like, could it be worse than the Seraton one? But,
Disorder.
Mountain Dew. I haven't seen swimsuits. Oh yeah, I went back and I looked at the Steam page after. It wasn't a swimsuit mod. It's actually just like their underwear, I think. But I guess there's this one character in a delusion. She like took off her clothes, but DI sword. It was not on purpose. When I came back to myself, I couldn't immediately grasp what was going on, leaving me to blankly stare up at girl B. She wasn't crying, her legs weren't transparent, and her hands were just normal hands. What the? Had that been a delusion? At any rate, a DI sword? The hell was that? It was the first time I'd ever heard that word. Girl B had said it was a sword, and whatever she was carrying was definitely shaped like a sword, but why was she asking me if I could see it? I decided to just nod. I mean, I obviously could see it. There'd be something wrong with me if I couldn't. Lugging around a sword that large and conspicuous, and in Sentergai no less. I'd be willing to accept it if this was Akiba, but in Shibuya of all places?
そうか。お前も集められたんだ
な。Gathered. Gathered? Who? And by who? At the very least, I was definitely here voluntarily.
エラーを見たことがあるか
In Japanese, please. Should I just read it now? Let's read it now. One. Teasing phrase used on online message boards to tell an incomprehensible poster to please post comprehensibly. Was what I'd wanted to say, but unsurprisingly, I wasn't brave enough. Then again, if I said the wrong thing, she'd probably stab me, so... Regardless, this chick had been spouting nothing but nonsense ever since she first opened her mouth.
見たら教えろ
Okay. After she said that, Girl B turned around. Her skirt fluttered in the face. Okay. I hurriedly shut my eyes.
私は3年の青い瀬名
Always Senna.
駅前の電車にいる
Okay. I opened my eyes. The girl calling herself Senna had vanished. I was completely stunned. And it wasn't until I arrived back at my base that I realized that I hadn't understood a single goddamn word she'd said. Alright, back home. Yeah, wow. Doors open. Despite everything going on, I had to go to school 3 times this week. Somebody kill me. Don't say that. That might happen. A mysterious screech resounded from far away. The sudden nature of it made me jump, and when I slowly looked in the direction it came from... ah.
Oni!
Nanami. Nanami rushed toward me with staggering speed. I tried to run away, but it was too late. She'd already circled around me and blocked my path. She always did have amazing reflexes. Oh, because you're incredibly annoying. Damn it. Why did you decide to go to Suime of all places? That decision had done nothing but cause me endless pain and suffering. Whenever she ran into me on the way to school, she always stuck her nose in my business without fail. I mean... Doing my best to break free, I started speed walking, but Nanami was determined to keep up. She's cute. Ah, Takumi. STFU. What the hell's your problem? Are you my mom or something? And stop talking. You know. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, you know, I don't really curse like that often. And usually, if it's like in a game, in the dialogue, I would just read it out anyways. But Takumi just curses so much, it feels weird. It's like for the last stream, I did just start to like censor him, but I am just gonna continue to do that, I think. Annoying as hell. I mean, I don't know. I guess as a younger sibling myself, I feel for her. But I do not have a... Oh! Well... I have the Stream Deck, yeah. Not a Steam Deck, but... It's not plugged in right now, yeah. I guess I could do the, like, the beeping censoring. But... Nah. I feel like it might get, annoying after a while. Because there's so much of it. Yeah, Stream Deck. I'm selling punched a lot of like 5% it's annoying. Aw. And then one I never actually ended up adding the bonking sound effect to it, but I should. at some point. If I ever need it. Younger sibling, I'm a menace? Actually, well... I guess I'm not... Okay, let me write this down. I have a question, but... I will... save it for later. I'll leave it for a later poll. Worst thing to streams with the lights on and off. You actually are a menace. I don't think I was ever that bad. But, stop talking about this when we're on the side of the road. It's humiliating. Yeah. There's nothing on this earth more embarrassing than walking to school with your younger sister. The situation came about quite often. I don't care. I'd always longed for it to happen to me, but Nani was nothing compared to 2D little sisters. Less than... I think she is cute. Damn it, world. Give me a cuter younger sister. A slightly tense atmosphere hung in the air between us as we walked side by side towards school. I looked at Nanami to see if there was any chance of escape before we reached the gate. Even though she had been yammering on and on just a bit ago, she had fallen completely silent, now walking with an absent-minded look on her face. It even looked like her eyes weren't really focused on the road, but that was probably just my imagination. Her footsteps were unsteady. Something must be wrong with her, I suspected. She kept on swaying back and forth, and about a moment later, she stumbled right out onto the road, right as the car came racing toward her. Oh. Is she okay? Panicking, I grabbed Nanami's arm and yanked her back. The horn of a car blared as it sped by. She just barely avoided getting run over. Nanami blinked a few times and tilted her head to the side. I was at a loss for words. She was an idiot. She didn't even understand her own actions. For the record, that wasn't more, not even close. What's happening here? Yes, there was a car. I feel I don't like saying the lines where he insults her. Whirring sound. What was she talking about? I hadn't heard anything. Nanami pointed out the corner of the road. Interesting. When I looked to where Nanami was pointing, I didn't see our parents. Instead, I saw a creepy man standing in that exact spot. Huh. He wore a plaid shirt, fingerless gloves, jeans rolled up at the bottom, and white sneakers. He had a rucksack on his back that was filled to bursting. He looked like an otaku plucked straight out of Akihabara. That was obviously he was holding a video camera in one hand. What a rude sister. Besides, it'd make no sense for our parents to be here in the first place. They lived in Shimokitazawa after all. The man started looking our way, then he pointed the camera lens at us. What What the hell was wrong with him?
行くぞ、ナナミ。
Frightened, I quickly ran from the scene, leaving Nanami behind.
あ、お兄、
あ、
ちょっと待ってよ。
Wait, take her with you. Don't leave her behind if you're gonna run away. But, I continued to ignore Nanami until we got to school, upon which I ditched her to walk down the noisy as ever hallway toward my classroom. When walking down the hallway, stay along the edge. Don't walk too fast or too slow. Don't make eye contact with anyone. Those were the 3 rules I always followed. That was how I didn't stand out in school. I transformed myself into an existence akin to air itself. That was my secret to success. Oops.
Yo, Taku.
Yet people like him definitely made it hard for it to actually work. Catching up to me from behind, Misumi-kun greeted me in his normal, overly friendly fashion by clapping a hand on my shoulder.
おいっす。挨拶ぐらいしろって。ま、お前がそういうやつだってのは分かってるけどよ。なあ、この前 D 組の女子の話したよな。めったに学校来ねえけど、
I don't
可愛い女子がいるって。
Is this that? Oh, wait, Class D. Oh. Our year?
その子、岸本綾瀬って名前なんだけどよ。
岸本綾瀬。
実は、その岸本に関して、すげえ発見したんだ。
Misumi-kun suddenly lowered his voice then looked around us. It was just gonna be something vulgar, wasn't it? Already tired of his BS, I almost let out a sigh.
フェスいるだろ。
Oh.
フェス。
Yeah. But what he said made me bite it back. Was she a student
岸
here?
本ってのがフェスなんだよ。
Wow.
俺マジビビったぜ。まさかフェスがうちの学校の生徒だなんてよ。しかも俺らとタメだってことだぜ。
For whatever reason, Misumi-kun leaned his upper body out the window and gazed up toward the sky with a look of pure ecstasy.
運命ってきっとこういうことを言うんだな。
You think so? This was the 3rd floor. If he were to slip, he'd fall to the ground and break his neck, ending his life just like that. My anxiety steadily climbed as I watched him. Yeah, I would never do that. Misumi-kun leaned farther and farther and farther out the window before switching his gaze down toward the entrance beneath it.
噂をすればなんとやらだタク。岸本を発見した。もうすぐここに来るぜ。え？
With so many coincidences piling up one after the other, maybe it really was fate. Not that I cared.
よし、待ち構えてやる。見てろタク。俺のナンパ術ってのを見せてやるよ。
Alpha male. He was brimming with self-confidence. Man, alpha males like him really were impressive. Picking up girls and all that was a completely different world for me. It wasn't even worth trying. Hold back sometimes with gore. Oh, there she is. So cool. A few moments later, Kishimoto Ayase appeared. It was just like Misumi-kun said. She really was Fess. I made sure of that while observing her from a safe distance. I still couldn't believe she was in the same year as us. She was wearing a Suime uniform. A distinct aloofness came from her expression as she walked slowly down the hallway. It gave off a completely different impression than the one she'd had on stage. Back then, despite her apathetic tone, I'd felt a sense of power and liveliness emanating off of her. But now the aura she gave off felt listless and unapproachable. Ignoring this, likely deliberately, Misumi-kun strolled over to her with the same overly friendly attitude he always had with me, then casually stopped right next to her.
Yo, Kishimoto-san. Oh, hayo.
Whoa, his smile was so invigorating despite being so obviously fake. I had no idea how he was able to act like that around someone he barely knew. That's why we love him, that's why we admire him. Then again, I didn't really want to be him.
あ、俺三角大輔。よろしく。おっと、初対面とか思ってるだろう。 でも違うんだなこれが。俺さ、こないだ
She hasn't said a single word yet.
だから
He's just
君
talking.
に会うのは2度目で、その時君の歌声にこうなんつうの、ビビってきちゃった。別に俺ミーハーとかじゃないの。聞かれたのはさ、詩とか君の可愛さとかそういうところもあるけど、あの音あっての君の歌声っつうの。ちなみに俺も実はバンドやりたいなって思っててさ、よかったらああいういいバンドメンバーを見つけるコツとか、バンドの先輩として、あ、今すぐじゃ迷惑だろうから、そうだな、放課後とか暇？どっかで二人きりでじっくり話さない？
Misuma-kun just kept on talking and talking with no breaks. His tone was different than usual, and it was obviously fake. Not only that, but he wasn't hitting on her directly, instead using the band angle in order to invite her somewhere nonchalantly. So cool. I'd never heard this fun fact about Misumi-kun wanting to start a band before. It had to be a lie. He was willing to go that far in order to win some points, to force a flag rather than obtaining it naturally. But... we gotta make a choice here. Fess didn't even so much as look at him. She simply continued to walk down the hallway at the same pace, as if not a sound had reached her ears. I feel like it wouldn't be that bad, right? You know, we're at school. Probably. Me. It would probably... well, let me save. Wow. Yeah, sure. Okay. I feel like it wouldn't be. I feel like it wouldn't be too bad. I wonder what would happen though if we did this one. I don't like that there are so many of these choices because I feel like I'm missing out on whatever the other one is. Could always flip a coin? I guess so. But I feel like it's a little bit of a cop-out, right? I don't know. I feel like I gotta pick. More choices than there are save slots? Yeah. And you like coin blank choice is also an option? That's true. Maybe I'll just no delusions. It is interesting seeing what happens in them though. Kind of. You guys. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I can just alternate between all the choices, unless there's like everyone I really want to do. But so, I guess this one will be... Well... One run with all greens and one run with all reds? I guess so. I guess I've done mostly greens this time. There have only been 2 times where I chose red. Just that time at the start of this stream and then that one time with Yua, but... I'm feeling brave. I don't know. It's just like, well... I mean... that time with you, the red one didn't really do anything, so I feel like today was my first time seeing what actually happens with the red one. But it's not that bad, I feel like. Not like super scary or anything. I don't know, in my mind it would just, I thought it would just be a bunch of like, I don't know. Like, thinking it, like, the gore, all the gory images and stuff, you know, but her arm was just green. She was a ghost. We can forget the Ryan. It wasn't really that scary at all. I feel like the actual game is more terrifying than his, like, scary, bad delusions. But I guess it could have also just been that one. Maybe they were worse, you know? Anyways, I guess I'll just go green this time. I'll see what it's like.
Nah. 聞いてる?
Suddenly, Fess stopped in her tracks. Her slightly lowered gaze slowly rose up, and then she looked at me. Huh? Me? Come to think of it, the same thing had happened at the concert. It felt like Fess was staring directly at me. Just in general, I've been stared at by a whole bunch of freaky 3D girls over the past couple weeks. God, what the hell was going on? Was I becoming popular now? Okay, let's see what will happen. Okay, where was he?
好きな人がいるのよ。
And it'll just be us, right?
マジ? 何何? それって俺のこと?
そこの人。
そこ?
Over where? Who was she talking about? She wasn't pointing anywhere nor doing anything that would clue us in as to who she was referring to. She just kept looking at me and only me. Wait, was the person she liked me?
この前、ライブに来てたわね。
Wow. Fess began to walk toward me, still refusing to avert her gaze. My surroundings began to buzz. Everyone was listening in on the unexpected confession of Shibuya's famous songstress, Fess. And then everyone clapped.
いや、俺もライブに行って。
一目で悟ったわ。
Fess wasn't listening to a single thing Misumi-kun said. She grabbed my necktie with one hand and pulled me in close enough that I could clearly feel her breath against my skin. This was not a distance you could maintain with someone you were close friends with, nor was it one to be shared between family members. It was a distance, a closeness, reserved only for lovers. That's when we got the handwriting tickets.
君は私の運命の人だって。
Companion chosen by fate. That's a cool line. With nary even a smile, Fess slowly brushed my cheeks with her fingertips. The sheer seductiveness of the gesture sent chills down my spine. I was entranced. Fess had me. I couldn't take my eyes off of
決
her.
めたわ。私、君のお嫁さんになる。
Well, that's moving a little quickly, but I mean, okay. This music. That declaration was so far removed from the normal aloofness and decadence that Fess always carried. The cheering! And yet, the sheer contrast between them proved unbearably cute. This is so funny. Everyone around us was effectively throbbing with excitement upon hearing Fess's proposal to me. Misumi-kun was so utterly mortified upon losing to me that he came crashing down to his knees, crestfallen. It's funny.
僕の意見は無視ですか？嫌じゃないです。
It felt like I was being swept away by a river of temptation. If I got to marry a beautiful girl like her, I would win at life right then and there. And thus began the heart-pounding love story of me and Fess. Okay, yeah, that was fine. That was funny. Like that ever happened. While I was over here, drowning in my own moronic delusions, Fess was murmuring something in a low voice, only to up and disappear soon after.
自信なくすぜ。くそー。
Misumi-kun was sulking, having been completely and utterly disregarded. Considering how she was able to deter an alpha male of his caliber, like he was no lower than a spur on a boot of hers, to deter him like he was nothing more than a typical monsieur. Maybe the other team was what Fess preferred, a true Yuri connoisseur. She's for the girls? Okay, let's just read it, since it came up. Yuri, an archetype that refers to women that see other women as romantic interests. Okay.
それはすごくいいスールです。
What does that mean? A sister? I guess so. Okay. Why is what does he mean by this? Uh,
あんな不愛想な女、もう二度と相手にしてやるもんかよ。あー、うぜえ。だいたい何が剣を見つけろだ。わけわかんねえ。
剣
Finding a sword?
ああ、岸本がそう言ってただろ。
I guess we were busy being delusional.
剣を見つけろ。そうすれば救われるって。
Salvation.
なあ、ターク。ファンタズムの歌にそんな歌詞でもあるのか？
A sword. Could that possibly be referring to that mic stand thing she'd been using during the concert? Come to think of it, there'd been another person a couple days ago that had interrogated me about a sword. Yeah. You said she would be waiting in the train? That Senna girl, the one who was absolutely terrifying. I'd actually thought she was going to slice me in two. The sword she'd been carrying was a different shape than the one Fess had, but they had a similar aura to them. Could the two of them be connected somehow? I didn't know. There's way too much I didn't know. Okay. Shogun, the demon girl, Yua, Fess, Senna, swords. As was my old habit, I jotted down a list of all the things I didn't know enough about in my head. I'd meant to put myself as one final item on the list, but I decided against it. I was completely normal. It was the stuff happening around me that wasn't. That was the most obvious conclusion. Was Fess my ally or my enemy? It'd be nice to know at least that much. Problem was, I didn't have the courage to ask her. Animite. Today I headed straight for Animite without stopping by at Cafe. The reason, of course, was to finally pick up my long-awaited Bloodtoon figure, Seiradon post-awakening version. Are we gonna run into Yua here, or...? While I was in checkout, Yua's face crossed my mind for a second, but I cut off those thoughts immediately. I glanced at the Seiradons that were set on display in order to attract customers, but since the sculptor was Kijima Yoshio, not a single word needed to be said about their quality. I had to get home fast, so I could... Okay. As long as I could admire Seiradon's face every now and then while I played ESO, I was content. So why did the entire third dimension do nothing but bring me trouble? It plagued me even now. I headed straight for my base in high spirits, forgetting all about Fess and swords and whatever else, and practically skipping the entire way home. Oh, it's dark out. Oh, it's these two. Oh yeah, that's right, we were caught on video, so... I guess they're gonna interrogate us, maybe. When I was about 50 meters away, I encountered two men who carried an unmistakably abnormal air about them. I attempted to pass them by without making eye contact, but they were very clearly watching me.
そこの君、ちょっといいかい？
No. The first of the two to call out to me was a dull older man, one that looked like he belonged at a cycling racetrack gambling his life away. His hair was a mess, and his unshaved beard was somehow worse. He wore a worn-out old suit, a sloppily tied necktie, and dress shoes that didn't show a trace of being cared for. All of it came together to form an unparalleled example of a man who'd failed to get ahead in life. For some reason, the fact that he was flapping a fan at himself only served to further emphasize how pathetic he looked. His expression was similarly languid, his mouth curled into a flippant smile. And yet, when our eyes met for a split second, I knew then that he wasn't really smiling. There was nowhere to run. As I searched for something to reply to them with, the two men made their way up to me.
おじさん、こういうものなんだけどさ。
The older man took out a black badge from his suit and held it out toward me. It was the same kind of police badge you'd see in various TV shows, but it was obviously the first time I'd ever seen a real one. They finally come for me. They could only be here for one thing, the crucifixion case.
ちょっと話を聞かせてもらっていいかい？もちろん強制じゃないんだけどね。あ、そんな身構えなくていいよ。本当話聞くだけだから。
The way he spoke didn't show a trace of trying to intimidate me. The other, younger detective, however, wore a strict expression as he nonchalantly moved to block my path. Sweat started running down my neck. If I made any wrong moves, they'd likely suspect me of being the culprit and haul me down to the station right then and there. I didn't want that to happen. I resigned myself, then gave a small nod.
君さ、俗に言うニュージェネレーションの狂気って知ってるかな？
I knew it. I wiped the beads of sweat off my forehead, then gave him a nod in reply.
じゃあ、3番目に起きた通称貼り付け殺人事件も当然知ってるよね。
No, I don't know anything about it.
あ、ちなみに君、名前聞かせてくれる？
A gulp forced itself down my throat. This wasn't some bait and switch shit, was it? Or maybe they were a bunch of con men who were only acting like policemen, while in reality they were just mining my personal information so they could put it to ill use. They could even be the demon girl's underlings.
答えてくんないのかな？
That was just me thinking about it. If they started to suspect me, there'd be no end to it. What should I do? If I gave them a fake name, they might arrest me immediately.
個人情報保護法とか気にしてる？おじさんそんなに信用なさそうに見えるかな？
Well, I'll say. Either way, his friendly way of speaking had to be just an act.
西條匠。
In the end, I figured there was no way around it, that it was in my best interest to answer honestly.
西條匠くんでいいかい？
I shook my head.
本当に？
Huh? What was that supposed to mean? I had purposely given him my real name, so what the hell was that reaction? Are you yanking your chain of scotch? The detective's unnatural laughter rang throughout the quiet residential area. Ugh, just hurry up and let me go already.
その制服、水明だよね。何年生？
Did I have to answer stuff like that?
悪いね。聞き取れなかった。おじさん、もう年だから耳遠くてさ。
2年生。
ああ、2年生ね。どうも。で、西條さん。聞きたいことってのは、先月の29日の午後6時から10時頃にかけて、どこで何してたかなんだわ。
Were they asking me for my alibi? Did that mean they suspected me? That's ridiculous.
いや、別に君を疑ってるわけじゃなくてさ。その
For some reason, the way the guy talked was really starting to get to me. Maybe talking in a way that deliberately agitated the subject with some kind of interrogation technique. Of course, I had seen someone suspicious. I'd seen someone very clearly and with my own 2 eyes. But I wasn't sure if it would be a good idea to tell that to this shady old guy. What would I do if I told him and then the demon girl came back for revenge? It seemed like the demon girl was letting me run free for now. But she still had Shogun on her side, and he was equipped with precognitive powers, so by that logic, that must have meant that the demon girl had some sort of insane power as well. So when you just go off about yourself, the estimates of him with item numbers, imagine. Lisa says that they do not suspect you, should definitely trust them and tell everything without any concern for your own safety. And if that was true and I told the police about it, she might find out about it immediately because of her clairvoyance or whatever, and then she'd come to kill me right after.
なあ、西条君。
Freaking
今日はそんなに暑いか。
My heart rate skyrocketed. Oh, because we were sweating? If I stayed silent like this, they would absolutely suspect me of being the criminal. But at the same time, I was scared that if I lied and said I didn't see anything, they'd see right through me. The older man fanned me a couple times with his fan. A cool breeze rustled my hair.
もうすっかり秋だ。汗かくほど暑いとは思えんけどな。まあ体質ってのは人それぞれだしな。
Ironic, considering he was the one walking around with a fan. But he was right. It wasn't all that hot out today. It was perfect, actually. The kind of temperature you'd actually enjoy spending time in. I'd wiped the sweat off my forehead with my sleeve countless times now.
僕はやってない。
お。
The look in his eyes shifted. I realized that I'd slipped up, but I had no idea what exactly had tipped him off.
何をやっていないんだ?
Oh gosh. They definitely suspected me. I had to answer honestly. Staring at the manhole cover right beneath my feet, I began to blurt out everything.
見たんです。貼り付けの現場、そこに女がいたんです。で、血まみれにして、死体の前に杭がたくさん死体に突き刺さってて、あれ500本は絶対超えてた。異常だ。死体がハリネズミみたいになってて。
Hedgehog.
女は僕を見て、よかったって笑ってた。あの女は悪魔だ。人間じゃない。ニュージェネの母親には人を超えた存在なんだ。ヨシとかすごい超能力とか。
How are they gonna react to this? Upon saying that much, I realized the 2 detectives were staring at me with their eyes wide. Maybe they didn't believe me. Thinking that, I clamped my mouth shut.
悪魔か。なるほどね。そいつは参考になったよ。
本当です。
The hedgehogs.
ああ、分かってる分かってる。貴重な情報だよ。
僕を警察で守ってください。
その前にその女の年は分かる？
水明。
水明って水明。
その制服着てた。
つまり西条君と同じ学校の生徒か。
After simmering on that for a moment, the old man grinned. He then muttered something that could be either an actual question or him just mumbling to himself.
何年生だろうな、その女。何年生だと思う？西条君。
わからない。
じゃあなんて名前だと思う？
わからないよ。僕はあの悪魔の名前なんて知らない。
その女の身長、体重、あとついでにスリーサイズについて。
What was up with this old man? Was he screwing with me? How was I supposed to know even a single one of those? Did he think I could instantly get all those measurements from a single glance? Oh yeah, sure, I absolutely had such a stupid power. Oh wait, no I didn't, because this wasn't a goddamn rom-com manga.
なるほど。黙ってるってことはわからないってことだね。これは本部に戻って検討しないといかんな。
I wonder if they believe us.
マジっすか
I guess this guy doesn't. Waving his hand to silence the dumbfounded younger detective, the old man signaled something to him with his eyes.
西条君、ちなみに連絡先とか教えてもらえる？
なんで
Well, I guess we just got a cell phone. I knew they wouldn't believe me. They wanted to label me as some nut job and falsely accuse me of everything.
ああ、だって悪魔だっけ？そいつから君を守らなくちゃならないだろ？
No, so that was why he'd asked. Oh, thank God, they actually believed me. If I could get the police to protect me, it would be incredibly reassuring. Yes, the enemy was a demon, so the police would only get one shot if they went up against her, but it was better than being unarmed. Feeling slightly relieved, I took out the phone I had bought a few days prior and showed him my phone number. The young detective scribbled it down in his notebook.
忙しいところありがとう
Sleepy,
さ。君の身の安全は警察が保証するから、何の心配もしなさいな。じゃあまた何か聞きたいことができたら電話するかもしれないんで、その時はよろしくね。
Okay.
イルスとか使わないでくれよ。今のところ警察にとっては君は重要な人物だからな。
え？
君の目撃証言は事件解決の重要な手がかりになりそうだ。じゃあな。
Alright, see you. The two detectives bowed their heads and promptly took off. After taking a glance at me over his shoulder, the young detective whispered something to the older one. The older man paid him no mind and simply continued to walk. I let out a long, long sigh. That was intense. It was the first time I'd ever been questioned by actual detectives. I'd acted pretty suspicious without meaning to, but they'd believe me anyway. Somehow. God, I'd give anything for the police to arrest the demon girl. Then again, the police didn't have any special powers, so maybe I should keep my expectations low. I then noticed that my mouth had gone incredibly dry without me realizing, so I redirected myself to the nearest vending machine and got myself a cola. Okay.
覚醒バージョン残すエロすぎパン顔かわいいよ顔原作再現度はいまいちだけどプンプンと漂うエロスが木島よしおらしさだよなこれはこれでグッジョブ上着キャストオフとかこの角度からじゃほとんど全裸にしか髪の動きがいいよな覚醒バージョンは髪が命って持論があるわけだが間違ってなかったな、さてそれではお待ちかねパンツいってみようかどれV ゾーンの作り込みいいよシワのつき方リアルだしっておおこれスージーさんこれセーラタン5作目にして早くも最高傑作爆誕じゃねえこれ以上すごいのなんて出せないってマジでやっぱ木島は神
I carefully stood my new Seirata next to my monitor. Fuhihi, Seira. Yeah, new outfit, huh? Pose is the same as the other one, though. Seiratan. Simply looking over it made me grin uncontrollably. Life was good. I logged on and immediately started posting my impressions of my new Seiratan figure on @channel. Oh wait, let's read the tip too. Real quick. Oh, that was the wrong button. Okay. Tips list. Awesome sauce. A word used to express excitement or appreciation on the internet. A very high compliment. Okay. When I finished doing that, I went to check my email, then checked to see if any of my friends on Frepada had posted any updates.
おっとマイフレ申請来てるじゃん誰これセーラコミュの人かはいはい K ですよ
Now then, time for ESO, but the very second I thought that, I wonder though, is it really just another Seira fan? Or... yeah. I felt chills on the nape of my neck. It was the gaze, complete with its usual intense presence. Whose eyes are those eyes? Oh. We've got a choice here. Damn it, this was not the time. That's really the chance for all that. If we go green, I think it probably would be Santa done, right? So it probably, you know. But do I want to see something scary? Let's save. Save. Just over this one. I think you know what I wrote. Ah. It's like, you know, even knowing what can happen with the green ones, I'm still curious to know what'll happen this time. So I guess I'll just go green. When had I first started feeling the gaze, I'd long since forgotten. It slithered its way into each and every part of my life, bothering me all the way. There were a lot of things that disturbed my peace, but the gaze was right up there with the most irritating thing I had to deal with. Fine then, let's do it. It'll take more than that to make me turn around game. Still fixated on my monitor, I tried to think of some cool lines you'd hear in a manga.
貴様出てこい僕の目をごまかせるとでも思ったか甘いな
Okay. Maybe it doesn't involve her, actually. I guess we'll see. No.
当たり前だ僕の後ろに立つなと何度言え
No, yeah, it is her. Huh? Was that a woman's voice just now? Actually, what was that her voice or was it different characters? Goosebumps stood up all over my body. Had the reclusive owner of the gaze finally decided to show themselves? Was that even possible? Should I turn around and see who it was? Actually, can we listen to them? Oh yeah, we can. Can we? I do feel like it is her, but was it a different character? What if she attacked me the moment I did? Because I feel like he would recognize her voice, right? It was a fairly cute sounding voice, but what if, in reality, a monster far removed from anything human was standing there? No. If that were the case, wouldn't that mean they were getting ready to attack me right now? If I didn't turn around now, I wouldn't even notice if they killed me. Actually, wait, I just realized, but the screen isn't like, you know, doing the things right now, right? Not woozy, so maybe... Is this reality? Maybe I should say something else to see if they'd respond. It was possible that the voice I'd heard was just a hallucination or a delusion or something, so that helped confirm it. And, I mean, I talk to my Seraton figure all the time in my head. It had to be the same thing. I tried to be bold and ask, "Who are you?" but I hesitated. If I was to provoke the attacker, it could have very easily spelled the end for me. It could have caused her to finally stop waiting and attack me. So many delusions ran through my head that I found myself completely paralyzed. What should I do? Maybe the whole thing was a product of my own design, and I was just being the world's biggest dumbass, I swear. If the owner of the gaze wasn't here, and I'd just been sitting here trembling in fear over nothing... This is, right, it is... Oh god, it really wasn't a hallucination or a delusion. There was someone right behind me. Okay, we're gonna turn around, aren't we? Startled, I reflexively turned around. Ah! Okay. Hey, demon girl, what's up? She is cute though, yeah. Fucker's world's biggest dum-dum confirmed. Hey, how you doing? The demon girl! The girl sitting on the sofa was undeniably the same one I had seen at the crucifixion crime scene. And now, for some reason I couldn't comprehend, she was just standing there, looking at me, smiling. Oh gosh. She'd finally come to kill me. It had to be because of the detectives I'd talked to. She'd seen me do it with her clairvoyance. After that, she infiltrated my base without making a sound, took up a position in which she could kill me at any moment, and now she was reveling in my fear as I cried and screamed in terror. It couldn't be anything else. Don't kill me! I tried to scream, but I was too terrified to make a sound. Tilting her neck to the side, the demon girl unleashed a strange incantation. It had to be some demonic tongue. She was cursing me. Oh, Oliver, welcome. Did I lockpicking tootsies? I guess so. Is she even real? I guess we'll see. In hopes of gaining as much distance as possible from her, I went to hide underneath my desk. Problem was, I was so shaken that I ended up bashing my head into the edge of it, rendering me unable to move as I writhed in pain. Bonk. Even now, the demon girl was keeping up her amused smile, but it had to be a trap, one built to lull me into a false sense of security. The second I let my guard down, she'd swoop in and end me. Or maybe she already had with that curse she's placed on me a minute ago. In a few days, my entire body would suddenly start spewing blood everywhere, and I'd die right then and there. I got down on my hands and knees, cradling my head between my arms. Those goddamn detectives had completely effed me over. I mean, you kinda just did the other day, but... Hiding under the scarf of a person who's It was the lie meant to buy me some time. The older detective had said he'd guarantee my safety. If he was doing his job properly, he had to have sent at least one officer over to my place. One thing that I suddenly... But did he tell them where he lives? I'd given the old man my phone number. I hadn't given him my address. Oh, Sprite. Bishy. Suddenly, the demon girl assumed a pose resembling a salute. She really is cute. And what was just as, if not more strange, was what she'd said. It was almost like a sound effect. Was it another demonic curse? What? Was she trying to play dumb? Or was this her roundabout way of threatening me, and in actuality she was saying, forget the truth, act as if nothing ever happened? What the hell was she thinking? Didn't she come here to kill me? Yeah, close. The demon girl got up from the couch and reached her hand out to me. Her expression was so gentle, and now that I was seeing her up close, she was actually pretty cute. You look like cute. You're so right. Surely someone this cute couldn't do anything bad, right? Damn it, I was letting her get to me. Stop acting like a goddamn idiot. Was I seriously calling a demon pretty cute? She was a murderer. She'd used Yua and Shogun to trap me, and now she'd come to finish me off herself. Don't trust her. I'd already learned my lesson back with Yua. I'd never make the same mistake again. I refused to take her hand. Don't be deceived by this demon girl's smile. She was a demon trying to tempt me. If I gave in to that temptation, I'd die. Trust no one. Don't believe anything. Don't believe anything anyone says.
見たんだ。お前が人を殺してるとこ。
あのさ、タク。それ、かなりひどいこと言ってるって気づいてる？ まさか殺人犯呼ばわりされるなんてね。
What was she gonna do with me?
ニュージェネの
Just like with the guy in the fourth case. Was she gonna?
殺すんでしょ。それとも岩とか将軍とかがいる場所に連れてって。
岩？誰それ？
You are Shogun? Maybe the three of them had decided to work together. That way, I wouldn't be able to fight back when they beat me to death.
そんなの嫌だ。助けて。
じゃあ、私を殺人犯扱い
Well, if you're offering your help. So that was her true goal.
そんなビビらないでよ。いちいち私がへこむようなリアクションしてくれるよね。
お願いだ。もう二度と誰にも喋らないから。だから見逃して。
もしもーし。タク？ちょっと落ち着こう。
Acting like we were close or something, calling me Taku. Wait, actually, how did she know my name? She'd already known it back when we'd first met at the crucifixion crime scene. Ow, how did she know it? And also, how had she known where my base was?
当然でしょ。
It only makes
あなたの
sense.
名前を知ってるのは。
Had she just read my mind? I knew she was clairvoyant. She knew my name, my address, all because she'd used her powers on me.
タクって結構独り言多いよね。
What if she's like Seiratan come to life somehow?
前から思ってたことだけど。
Always? How long was she talking? Wait, had I been talking to myself out loud just now? I hadn't been aware of it at all. Was that really true? Had I really been talking to myself out loud? Or was it possible that she was just lying to me and, in actuality, she'd read my mind?
タクの名前を知らないわけないよ。私、物覚えはそんなに良くない方だけど、友達の名前くらい覚えるよ。
Your friends? Friends?
それともタク、私の面と向かってそういうこと言われると傷ついちゃうな。
Was someone here crazy? But who was it? Me? Her?
もしかして転校生。
そういえば
friends then.
近いうちに転校生が来るらしいよ。スカチン先生が言ってた。
Our class? Is she in our class? There are two different conversations going on here. My terror from earlier, together with the anxiety of having no idea when I'd get killed, was starting to fade. But rushing in to replace it was a completely new kind of dread, slithering in to slowly erode my mind.
もしもし、その顔はまさか。
誰？
Who was she? A murderer, a demon girl. That was who.
うわ、タクこそクラスメートの顔を覚えてないんだ。
Did she say classmate? So we weren't just friends, but classmates too?
でもまあ、しょうがないか。タクはあんまり学校来ないもんね。だ
She
から
actually our classmate.
私の存在丸ごとなかったことにするのはどうかと思う。
Friends.
私の名前、本当に忘れちゃった？そんなことないよね。知ってるでしょ？あなたは
You
知
know.
ってるはず。
Oh. Me. Me.
み。
そう、正解。賞
Wow.
金50円プレゼント。
We knew. Virginic field strikes again.
私、崎畑リミです。
Sakihata Rimi.
なんだ。やっぱり
Wow, we. Huh.
よかったよかった。
How? Was it true? Was the demon girl's name really Rimi? Why had that name suddenly popped into my head just now? Why did I know this girl's name? Maybe she really was my classmate and friend and I'd just forgotten? No, there's no way. I'd never even heard of the name Sakihata Rimi. It had to be a fake name. It had to be that when I'd said Rimi, she just decided that'd be her name right then and there. It was like one of those spam emails for a Nigerian prince that used your personal info. Besides, other than Yua, I never met a 3D girl who'd talk to me like we were this close in my life. And Yua was the demon girl's underling. Wait, that was it! What the girl calling herself Sakihata was doing right now was exactly the same as what Yua had done. This temptress knew I wasn't used to interacting with 3D girls, so she was attempting to lead me into a trap by behaving all friendly and trying to seduce me. It was the exact same strategy. I think in the future completely traumatized ourselves out of any memory of this girl. Yeah. That is Taku's running theory. The thing is, well, I barely remembered my classmates' faces at all, and I didn't plan to either. I could say with absolute certainty that I'd never seen this girl's face in the same classroom as me before. Probably. Damn it, I couldn't completely rule it out. After all, whenever I was at school, I was usually glued to my desk until the final bell, pretending to sleep, having delusions, staring at my desk, or feigning reading my textbooks. I didn't do anything else. Like, having delusions is just a regular activity for him. I had next to no memory of my classmates' names and faces, so I didn't even try to remember any. Which was it? Was she telling the truth, or was it all a lie? No, it didn't matter whether or not we were classmates, because the one thing I knew for sure, the one hard, indisputable fact, was that she had committed murder.
もしかして本気で思い出せないの？さっき頭打ったせいで記憶喪失になっちゃった？
The demon girl reached for my head. I retreated back under the desk to try and avoid her.
変だよ。じゃあ
His
大地
heartbeat.
に聞いてみて。
Daichi?
そしたらタクも思い出せるかも。
Oh, is that Misumi-kun? I think earlier his name was like... Was it Daisuke? Daichin? What the hell was that? Was that a person? Or some sort of secret code? Another demonic incantation?
大地だよ、大地。
Yeah.
三角大輔。
She knew Misumi-kun's name? And not only that, but she was calling him Daichin? She wouldn't call him that unless they were really close.
ちょっと待ってね。
The demon girl reached for a bag on the sofa, a bag that wasn't mine, and took out a cell phone.
大地はと。
Name.
よし、オッケー。はい。
After a bit of fiddling with the phone, she held it out to me. When I made no motion to take it, the demon girl forced a smile and quickly grabbed my hand.
ほら、固まってないで。
She forced me to hold the cell phone. The demon girl's hand was soft and just a little bit cold. I'd expect it to be a lot colder, almost like ice, but it wasn't nearly that bad. I guess even murderers have blood flowing through their veins. And because her hand was unexpectedly feminine, my heart started to thump. No! Don't fall for it! She's a demon! I'll never let her seduce me. I'm not into 3D. Lend me your powers, Seirata.
タク、携帯使ったことないの？電話機は耳に当てるんだよ。
Tilting her head, the demon girl peered at my face from point-blank range. With her hand still grabbing mine, she brought the phone up to my ear. But before she did, I quickly looked at the screen. The registered name Daichin was displayed, and it looked like it was already calling them. With no escape, I pressed the receiver up against my ear. I heard the sound of the phone ringing. Eventually, that sound stopped, and in its place... Whose eyes are those eyes? Were they saying that to me? Or to the demon girl? Why had they said that? The person on the other end remained silent. They didn't say who they were. It sounded like they were downtown or something, as I could hear a bunch of noise coming through the receiver. I was so confused. My voice wouldn't come out. I had no idea what to say. Misumi-kun. Misumi-kun, or at least that's who I thought it was, quickly reverted to his normal tone. Nimi. Sakihata Nimi. Misumi-kun knew her? Well, it wasn't like that was anything unusual. Misumi-kun was a natural-born playboy, after all. It wouldn't be surprising if he'd gone out with the demon girl in the past, or even if they were in a super intimate relationship now. That didn't matter to me, though. What I needed to know was whether the demon girl was my classmate or not. I guess if she is your classmate, then maybe she was the one who wrote, whose eyes are those eyes on the, chalkboard that one time, but... The demon girl once again peered at my face. Shit, she was way too close. I turned my back to her and spoke into the receiver. That turnaround.
西条。
Why had he responded so nonchalantly? Him acting so natural made it sound like me being with the demon girl is an everyday occurrence or something. Again, huh? But we do have phone. What's going on? Was the person on the other end really Misumi-kun? For example, there's the possibility that the demon girl had made a phone call to someone who only sounded like Misumi-kun. Maybe this person who sounded like Misumi-kun was just another underling of hers, and he was only pretending to be Misumi-kun in order to trick me. I was starting to doubt anything and everything. I didn't know what was true and what was a lie. Hold on. What the hell kind of trap was the demon girl trying to make me fall into anyway? Why bother with a trap this elaborate? In a situation like this, wouldn't it be easier and quicker for her to just go ahead and kill me already? Or was there some reason behind it, some kind of prerequisite saying she had to trick me, even if it meant taking it this slow? No, maybe it was some hidden camera type thing spearheaded by Misumi-kun. The girl wasn't actually my classmate, but Misumi-kun's girlfriend, and he'd sent her here in order to screw with me. As if. If that were the case, how the hell will I explain everything that happened at the crucifixion crime scene? Hold on, Robert's gamers are gonna imagine. You heard him. His tone of voice sounded exactly like Misumi-kun's. The more I heard, the more convinced I was that the person on the other end had to be him. Should I start talking? I sensed a gaze on my back. The girl was staring at me. The chills on the back of my neck still hadn't gone away. What kind of expression was the demon girl making? I wanted to turn around and see for myself, but I was too scared. Despite steadily becoming more and more incoherent, I somehow managed to explain myself. Suddenly, Misumi-kun stopped responding. Silence. However, I could still hear the noise of the city around him, so the call hadn't disconnected or anything. Why wasn't he talking? What's with that sigh? Next thing I heard was an extremely exaggerated sigh. Gamer brain. Wait, let's read the thing for it. What's this? Gamer brain. A theory that claims people who play video games experience a chronic decline in emotional restraint and judgment due to a condition similar to dementia. This theory stemmed from recorded measurements showing that the brains of those who played video games emit extremely low levels of beta waves compared to that of a normal humans. It was widely publicized by the mass media and became a social issue for a period of time, but there are too many ambiguities present in the study, such as its methodology used to measure brainwaves, leading to some to doubt its credibility. Gamer brain. What a title. Where'd that come from? And not only was it completely out of left field, but he brought up that bullshit condition that had been coined despite having no scientific backing whatsoever. Oh.
何バカなこと言ってんだお前。わかった。お前もしかしてリミに何か指図されたか。じゃあリミに伝えといてくれ。お前の低レベルのリミに引っかかる。
本当？
あ？何が？
本当にクラスメイト。
お前な、たまにしか学校来ねえから忘れちまったか。俺はともかく。お前は1年の時から同じだったろ。この前だって3人で一緒に映画見に行ったじゃねえか。
No way. I couldn't comprehend what the person that sounded like Misumi-kun was saying. He'd said that the demon girl and I had been in the same class since first year, and that the three of us had seen a movie together pretty recently. Pretty recently, but when exactly?
俺がお前とダチになったのだって。最初はリミに付き合わされたのがきっかけだと俺と同じで。
How whimsical we both are.
ニートのお前を気にかけてやってるのは世界広しといえど俺とリミ。あ、それは言い過ぎか。
Oh boy. The words I heard on the other end of the call, not a single one of them felt real to me. I had absolutely no memory of any of it. I couldn't acknowledge that any of that had happened in the past. I just couldn't. It was all some story that the person who sounded like Misumi-kun had made up. It couldn't be my past. The past could only be established as truth if a person remembered it. So if I didn't remember it, it wasn't true.
君は誰だ？
Oh. Unable to take it anymore, I hung up the phone. Okay. My breathing had grown extremely heavy without me noticing. The sweat that had been beating on my forehead showed no signs of stopping. In fact, it was increasing. Long trails of sweat trickled down my entire body, starting from my face and ending at my feet.
たく、汗びっしょりだよ。
He's not doing okay. The demon girl, looking worried about me, calmly offered me a handkerchief. A cute, patternless vermilion handkerchief. There was a faint floral scent to it. Instead of taking it, I attempted to somehow maintain my composure and organize my thoughts about everything that was happening. But in the end, it didn't go too well. I was doubting anything and everything, causing all my thoughts to rapidly churn together into a chaotic whirlpool. Sighing in minor disappointment, the demon girl put away her handkerchief, and then, with a triumphant look on her face, she asked me a question.
で、大臣はなんて？
She was acting like she already knew the answer. I couldn't afford to answer her. What was she? An ordinary classmate of mine? Or a monster? I had no idea. Maybe I was the crazy one. Taking the chat with Shogun into consideration, I couldn't rule out the possibility that someone other than myself was controlling my body. Or maybe all my memories of the demon girl, of the girl named Sakiyata Rimi, had somehow gotten knocked right out of me due to some freak accident or something. At this point, I didn't know anything about myself for sure. Did I have amnesia? Did I sleepwalk? Or could it be something else entirely?
大丈夫？体、辛いならソファーで横になる？
The demon girl spoke to me kindly. Don't let your guard down. Anyone who acts nice to an otaku freak like me must have some kind of ulterior motive. I shook my head, putting my strong will to resist against the demon girl on full display. Then, using that same strength, I raised my head. Sweat got in my eyes, blurring my vision. The demon girl's face was a lot closer than I'd expected it to be. What color eyes were those?
なんで
Pink?
何何？
ここにいる？
なんでって、タクに会いに来たんだよ。もしかして、勝手に部屋に入ったこと。
I like how this game plays with the timeless, not trusting his own perception and memory. Those mostly are the best moments of the game.
でもそれは、タクがちっとも返事してくれないから悪いんだよ。結構長い時間、ノックしてたんだから。
You were? I tossed the cell phone she'd given me back at her. As I watched the demon girl timidly take it back, I asked her once again.
なんで
今度は何？
ここにいる
What was her reason for coming here? If she'd come to kill me, she would have done it a long time ago. So why wasn't she doing anything?
ここに来た理由？ね。
The demon girl reached into her bag and pulled out a single sheet of paper.
進路希望のプリント持ってきてあげたの。
Stuff from school. I found myself taking it from her without really asking. She wasn't lying. The piece of paper did have post-graduation's aspirations written on it, along with 3 blank spaces to write your answers in. Was that it? Was that really all she'd come for?
帰ってよ
Oh wait, I don't want anything to do with her. I don't want anything to do with any 3D girls. This is a trap. Don't listen to her. This isn't reality. This is a game, one filled with bugs. There are way too many contradictions. It doesn't hold together as a proper story.
僕に関わらないでよ
If you don't intend to kill me, then just leave me alone. I am me. Some me that isn't me may be friends with Sakihata Rimi, but that me has nothing to do with the current me. Cradling my head, I closed myself off completely. I kept trembling and trembling, envisioning that the girl known as Sakihata Rimi wasn't there anymore. Not long after, I heard the sound of the door opening, telling me that the demon girl had left. Well, I guess she's gone now. Okay, oh. We're back. In the midst of a pitch-black room, the pale light of a PC monitor cut through the darkness. Pictured on the screen was a Sera screensaver from Bloodtoon the Animation. While there had been a girl by the name of Sakihata Rimi present in the container half a day prior, the only figure that remained was the container's owner, Nishijo Takumi. It was already 5 in the morning. In Takumi's daily life, he would play online games until dawn and then collapse onto the sofa once he could not keep his eyes open any longer. Even now, Takumi was asleep on the couch, twisted in a seemingly uncomfortable position. He never used his bed for sleep. He did indeed have a proper bed, but it was already occupied by manga, CDs, and other random piled-up media. He could never be bothered to tidy it up, so his bed had effectively been repurposed into his storeroom. Ever since then, he had utilized his 2-person sofa as his one and only place to sleep. Pain moan escaped from Takumi's lips. Perhaps he was having a nightmare. His entire body was perspiring, and his closed eyelids twitched and trembled. His expression was warped in agony, and he was tossing and turning so frequently, he came very close to falling off the couch. Right before he did, however, his eyes suddenly and inexplicably shot open as he faced the ceiling. They were bloodshot, and his eyes were faintly convulsing. Ooh. Still in that state, without blinking even a single time, he rose from the sofa. He slowly staggered toward the PC. Without sitting down, he moved the mouse as he stood before his desk. The screensaver disappeared and his desktop showed itself. The pale light of the monitor shone on Takumi's face, illuminating his horrifyingly vacant expression. His body swayed back and forth and his mouth hung slightly ajar. Drool seeped down his chin. Is he okay? His current state was a textbook example of sleepwalking. Oh. The delirious boy launched the web browser, then opened @channel. His movement itself was languid and slow, but he showed no hesitation in selecting a thread from the board related to New Gen. The board listed a total of around 60 threads, and Takumi slowly opened each of them one by one. And then, with his eyes remaining glued to the monitor, he began to type. He repeated this action for each and every thread. His posts were not particularly long, only housing a few characters each, but they all composed of the exact same sentence. Whose eyes are those eyes, Shogun? Ooh. It really is him, I guess. Oh, back at the hospital? I went to the hospital first thing next morning. They hadn't confirmed it the last time I'd come here, but today they would definitely tell me I was normal. Dr. Takashino would remember me. I tell him, it's me, Nishijo. I was your patient until around 4 years ago, and then he'd tell me everything I needed to hear. I wasn't the crazy one. It was the demon girl and Misumi-kun. They were the crazy ones. That was definitely what he was going to say. This hospital opened at 8 in the morning, which was a little bit earlier than regular hospitals. That was the reason why I'd shown up right when it opened, and yet the seats in the lobby were already filled with countless middle-aged people or older. What the hell? Why? The hospital just opened, so why were there so many people here? Don't you bastards know head starts are unfair? Come on time like you're supposed to. As I continued to insult them inside my head, I had no choice but to wait. Okay. About an hour passed before I really started to regret not having made an appointment. But right after I started thinking that, they called my name and I was immediately relieved to know that I wouldn't have to wait as long as last week. Except the one waiting for me in the examination room wasn't Dr. Takashina, but some white-haired old man that I had never seen before.
Takashina sensei wa?
Noticing my confusion, the nurse standing right behind him, I think her name was Hazuki-san, gave an apologetic look.
高階先生は
Huh?
もういません。
No longer here. He... what?
もういないというか、過労がた
Ah,
たっ
I
て
see.
先週末に
Okay.
倒れてしまわれてね。
Like he didn't die,
今
right?
週はそれでずっと休みだよ。
Okay. What? This couldn't be happening. My one and only ally. Wait, had he really collapsed from fatigue?
陰謀だ。
Ah.
悪魔女の陰謀だ。
西条さん
Takumi. She had to have poisoned his food or sent him a death threat to scare him into submission, or done some other horrible act to psychologically break him. This had to be the work of the demon girl. She was trying to isolate me from my allies so I'd be defenseless against her assault. There's no way in hell I was going to let anyone other than Dr. Takashina examine me, so instead of getting a checkup, I ran away from the hospital. Okay. Going back home. Leaning on the fence at the edge of the roof, I blankly stared up at the sky. The skies of Shibuya were dim and lifeless. You'd have to be crazy to call them
病
clear.
院にはもう行かない方がいい。
Imagine Taka starting to blabble that out loud at the psychiatrist finally getting his treatment. If only. The demon girl's net was tightening around me. Maybe I already had nowhere to run. Maybe the detectives I'd met yesterday were imposters. Maybe, in reality, they'd been the demon girl's underlings all along and they'd just been testing me. That had to be it. The timing had been just way too perfect. The demon girl had broken into my room right after I talked to them. She was a demon, after all. She wasn't human. Controlling and manipulating the human mind would be child's play for her. I had no evidence of that, though. But at the same time, I had no evidence proving she wasn't a demon. Which meant the only way to stay alive was to just assume the worst-case scenario. Did I really have nobody on my side? It felt like everyone was against me. No matter where I looked, no matter who it was, all I saw was yet another one of the demon girl's underlings.
助けて。誰か助けてよ。
Why didn't I have even a single ally? Why wouldn't anyone come save me? Why did only I have to suffer so much? I felt more helpless than ever. I just wanted something to support me, someone who would protect me. Something that would protect me. I didn't care who or what it was, just someone, something. Please grant me salvation. And then, just as suddenly, Fess's, Kishimoto Ayase's, face appeared in my mind. I remembered what she'd said to me when we met at school. I had been lost in my own delusions at the time, but Misumi-kun told me what she'd said. Find a sword. If you do, you'll be granted salvation.
剣
If this was a game, I'd be the protagonist, and there'd be a cliché story moment where I'd obtained a legendary sword and triumph over evil. At this point, I'd heard the word sword from 2 different 3D girls recently, in extremely close proximity at that. There still remained the possibility that Fess was on my side. Girl B, however, I think her name was Senna, had a pretty high chance of being one of the demon girl's underlings, judging by her attitude. A sword.
剣だ剣を手に入れるんだそうすれば
I started talking to myself like I'd lost my mind. I was grasping at straws at this point. If I just get my hands on a sword, I might be freed from this nightmare. I couldn't help but hope for that. It wasn't that I believed what Fess had said about it granting me salvation. I just had nothing else to cling to. At the very least, I should do some research. Okay. Sword. Okay. The road. I promptly tried searching for it online. I started off by checking to see if the swords Fess and Senna were carrying appeared in any anime, but I couldn't find anything, at least from the seasonals. I'd expected as much. I always checked out the newest anime after all. Considering there were upwards of 30 to 40 of them in one season, it'd really pile up on me if I tried to watch them all, so I just watched the first couple episodes and figured out which ones to keep following from there. Naturally, since MewTube existed, I had no trouble completing my lineup from channels such as BS and CS. So there was no way I'd overlooked any anime, and those swords weren't in any of the shows I checked out. The swords both had extremely distinctive shapes, so if they showed up, I definitely would have remembered them. Although someone other than myself had been controlling me when I saw it, there's nothing I could do about it. Next, I tried searching for the swords themselves rather than anime they might have appeared in.
くそほとんどがゲームの攻略サイトじゃんか
Terms I knew well, such as ESO's Shangri-La Edge, kept popping up. I was making no progress. FFS, I was supposed to be able to find it quickly. I had a feeling that Senna yet used a more concrete name for it, but what had it been? Oh, was it a dye sword? DI sword? It's an invisible anime sword for self-defense. Oh, remember, the nightmare won't end unless you remember.
答えろ見えるんだなディソードが
D sword.
ディソード
That was it! She called it a D sword! I quickly typed it in and ran a search. Oh! It actually came up. I got hits! D sword, Fantasy Wiki, Amnesia, Vanilla. The swords of light known as D-swords were unleashed upon the world. These swords are fictional swords created in medieval Europe by the legendary Gladio, the wicked-hearted king. The swords were created to feed off of the negative emotions of man, and as such it is said that the Black Knights who fought with these swords eventually had their hearts eaten away by them. Unlike other holy/cursed swords, D-swords are characterized by their unique invisibility. What a D-sword, the blog of a free soul with too much free time. Free soul, free time. I bought a sword today. It's called a D-sword, I think. Seriously, I can't get enough of all the shady stuff I've been picking up. Town Vanguard is an oasis for my soul, man. The only places in the entire Tokyo metropolitan area that have got that shady vibe TV has are in Akiba. I'm still wondering, though, who the hell named this thing a D-sword, lol? It's this pretty huge toy and it's got this real oomph to... Only 2 of them, though. Even so, I was already starting to think of those 2 links as my road to salvation. Holding back my excitement, I clicked on the top one first. Shoot, the page was down. Damn it, what the hell? Okay, calm down. Go back and look at the cache. The page had an illustration on it. Must have been a recreation based on how the sword was described in various books.
元ネタは伝承か。
Yeah. Unique invisibility to show that the moment one of these seemingly unarmed warriors swung their arms, the sharp slice caused their opponent's arm to be severed from their body and fall to the ground before they could even feel the pain, much like the Kamaitachi phenomenon. Ancient legends often contain settings that transcend theories of all creation, and as such, the sword has made appearances in several Sedepigrapha books and various other mediums. These swords and the Kamaitachi phenomenon are considered to be practically synonymous. Kamaitachi, meanwhile, are imaginary specters that are sometimes depicted as weasels with sharp sickles for arms. This interpretation can only be attributed to a faithful recreation of people's imaginations over many years. If one were to describe being in words, Kamaitachi would be spirits of the wind, entities with a very weak presence in reality. However, the truth of the phenomenon has already been verified by modern science. The slices are said to be caused by a naturally occurring phenomenon in places where the air is incredibly dry and the vacuum-like conditions present in such places caused cuts to appear on the skin. Related entry, The Gladiol Saga, a series of high fantasy novels based on the Eastern European myth of Gladiol, the wicked-hearted king. Told over the course of 23 volumes, it depicts the battle between the Seven Black Knights and Gladiol. It was written by R.C.O. Ziegler from 1929 to 1951. The series has been translated into several languages, but it never gained widespread no, I guess it's a different word. But widespread appeal. It's rather esoteric writing style.
こっちは随分地味だな。
Yeah. Hers looked really cool. Why'd it have to be such a niche sword to begin with? I mean, why couldn't it have been a sword like Excalibur or Kusanagi? You know, swords that were actually a big deal? No, this wasn't the time. Niche or mainstream, I didn't care as long as it could save me. I decided to research it a bit more. Continuing, I clicked the second link. The words, "I bought a D-sword," caught my eye specifically. Are D-swords something you could buy? Downing soda. The blog owner seemed to be a male, so I could deduce that it couldn't have been the demon girl or Senna. And the energy shown in the writing was way too different from Shogun's. Well, Shogun. Was he a completely unrelated third party? Or could he have deliberately changed his writing style? WTF. Shady stuff. Even then, the Akiba stories don't really scratch that itch for me, you know? Can't sing the same for TV, though. There used to be all sorts of shady shops in Shibuya. Really... something shows my age. Is that what it says? Yeah. They've been washed away along with the flow of time. Man, those were the days, lol. What's amazing to me, though, is that if you didn't know any better, TV totally looks like a store for noobs, Lamau. I knew that no answer would come to me, no matter how much I thought about it, so I gave up and stopped looking at the blog. More importantly, it seemed like the store you'd mentioned, Town Vanguard, was located in Shibuya. Are we gonna go visit, maybe? I had the feeling that it was too good to be true, but I also had the feeling that it was predestined, too. Looking at it from another angle, maybe the exact reason I'd run into the girl holding a D-sword in the middle of Shibuya twice was because the store was located there. Wait, wasn't underground stuff like this supposed to secretly be popular among a few minority groups in Shibuya? Pretty sure it was. Anyway, I went ahead and ran a search for Town Vanguard. It didn't seem to have an official site, but I did find a preview image of it on an online map. If they didn't have an official site, that probably meant they didn't take online orders. I tried searching for them as a seller on Taboo Auctions, but I didn't find anything, which meant that I would have to go to the store in person. I really didn't want to go outside, but... Will that really count? I had now come to think of the sword as my sole only means of opposing the demon girl. I didn't have any idea what I would actually do after I got it, though. I certainly wasn't brave enough to kill her with it, not even close. Even so, I had hoped that if I got my hands on a sword, I'd be released somewhat from the terror that was tormenting me. The D-sword would be my protective charm, something I could depend on. Anyone open the store selling invisible swords. It'd be a pretty funny sight. Just nothing. There's something strangely alluring about that sword. Okay. Oh, we're going out. Okay. What's this person again? They were also in that other area. It could be a different person, I guess, but there was that person with the big sign. It seemed like the store was located somewhere near Cat Street. Cat Street was a long winding road next to Meiji-dori that ran from Shibuya to Harajuku. Apparently, it had been built on top of an old stream that had been reclaimed a while back. There are a bunch of reasons as to why people started calling it Cat Street, such as it being frequented by feral cats or that it was so narrow that only cats could use it, but it wasn't like it made a difference to me either way. Cat Street was pretty far away from my base. It took about 15 to 20 minutes to get there on foot. It'd be much faster by bike, but unfortunately I didn't have one. I decided to take a route that went past the front of the train station, then through Shotoku via cutting through Miyashita Park. Quickening my pace a bit, I crossed the overpass that went over to Meiji-dori. Phew! I finally arrived. I was starting to get really impatient. The sheer distance was pissing me off. La Cafe. Oh, trend chasing. Cat Street was nice and quiet compared to Sentogai, and it felt much more like Harajuku than Shibuya. The stores lining the streets here were only aimed at trend chases I wanted nothing to do with. F them, TV. Knowing how out of place I was just made me all the more pissed off. It was complete foreign territory. Every last one of the assholes around me thought they were so damn cool. There were even more couples sauntering around than in the shopping district. Whatever, they were probably just a bunch of... oh... bunch of broke shit trying to pretend they had monies. They were likely just window shopping, Lamau. Wastes of space. I was starting to regret coming here at all, but I reminded myself that all the suffering would be worth it once I got a sword, so I just sucked it up and kept walking. In order to avoid making eye contact with anyone, I kept my eyes firmly trained on my map as I speed walked toward my destination. Town Vanguard was deep into a narrow side road that split off from Cat Street. Even though I'd only gone one side street away from the main road, the atmosphere had changed dramatically. It was a narrow, cramped, filthy alley that no cart could travel through. The street was lined with wooden houses, out-of-business stores with closed shutters, and the inevitable spray-painted graffiti that covered said shutters. Despite how nice it looked from the outside with all its high-class name-brand stores, Cat Street, too, was nothing more than a superficial facade. And behind that facade lay a whole host of broken-down, mercilessly discarded junk heaps. Then again, I couldn't stand the place either way. Both the BS and the truth were foreign territory for me. The only home for me was ESO. Even for the back streets, though, Town Vanguard had an even smaller, darker atmosphere than I was expecting. I was finally starting to get why the blogger had called it shady. Even though an open sign was hanging on the door, it didn't exactly look like business was booming, and that was being generous. Thanks to that, it was extremely hard to convince myself to go in. How was I, a guy who couldn't even go into a gyudon shop by himself, supposed to enter a sketchy-ass store like this? I wanted to go home. No, I needed to get my hands on a sword no matter what. Ugh, what should I do? I spent a little while trying and failing to get myself to go in. It do be like that. Not a single person came through the cramped alley. I already spent 30 minutes waffling over what to do, but I still hadn't seen a single soul since I'd gone off the road. All that happened was I would finally decide to suck it up and go in, but then I would realize I wasn't brave enough. Repeat ad nauseum. But I couldn't go home empty-handed. This was the only place I could get my hands on a dye sword. Even though my sense of reason told me that, my instincts made me hesitate to enter the shop. In my mind, I had a delusion where the clerk came out to me. And of course, she was a cute maid, and she talked to me with a voice straight out of an anime. She knew exactly what I wanted, and she held the dye sword out to me, friendly as could be. Here you are. Please take this sword, master. Okay, that's enough. Chill out, me. Okay. Just as I was thinking about how much nicer it'd be if things turned out that way, a lone 3D girl appeared from within the store, almost like she'd somehow heard my thoughts. However, unlike my delusions, she was wearing disgustingly gaudy clothes, the type that made you think, what Indian tribe did she steal those from? But at the same time, despite the get-up, she looked absolutely miserable. Talk about whiplash. Her hair was incredibly frizzy, to the point where it looked like her head had exploded, and creepy patterns were scrawled on the bandana she had twisted around it. She said that she was a store worker and had come out after seeing me pacing outside. My delusion hadn't exactly become reality, but it wasn't like I had expected it to. Before I knew what was happening, the clerk forcibly showed me inside, despite how reluctant I was to do so. I didn't even have the chance to turn her down. Alright, I guess we're going in. Oh, ooh. Suit of armor. Interesting vibes. In the end, I found myself inside the store. It was all well and good that I cleared the most difficult obstacle, but... this clown. If this store was under the demon girl's control, and everything about the dice sword was just an elaborate trap to lure me to it, I wouldn't be allowed to complain if I got killed right here. My eyes darted around the store's dim interior. There wasn't a single customer. The air was awfully stagnant and slightly hazy. The unpleasant odor of tobacco and mold mixed together and invaded my nostrils. I felt like I was gonna be sick if I stayed here for any more than 5 minutes. Though I saw things that looked like products, it was difficult to judge whether or not they were actually for sale. All of them had been placed haphazardly, and there was no way to distinguish them from just plain old garbage. And it didn't help that not a single one of them had a price tag. I didn't notice until after I'd come in, but... I had no idea where to find a safe place to look. This store must have been a variety shop for adults or something. After forcing me into the store, the clerk sat down on a stool behind the counter, then proceeded to zone out as she smoked. She showed no indication that she was going to continue meddling with me. She was probably a partial source of the haze in here. Even though it had been less than a minute since I'd come in, anxiety, a weird sense of pressure, and the embarrassment all combined with how sick I was feeling, in the form of a disgusting sweat seeping out of my forehead. I wanted to get out of this otherworldly place as soon as possible. I had to hurry up and find a dice sword, quick. I walked toward the back as I looked throughout the store. I'd soon found the fantasy weapons section, which had been mentioned in the blog I'd found. This corner of the store was the only one that stood out to me. Numerous pole-shaped toys were neatly displayed. All the toys were tubes of some sort. They were different colors, but pretty much all of them were lightsabers. You could tell pretty easily from how shoddy they were all bootleg. I doubted they would even glow. It seemed like the light shuriken talked about in the blog was sold out, which surprised me. Yet, mixed in with the lightsabers was a single item that was clearly different from the rest. Oh? Is it actually? Oh. It only took one look for me to know it was a dice sword. It looked almost exactly like the illustration I'd seen online. But it looks pretty different from the one Senna had. I went to pick it up. It was unexpectedly light. I wondered what it was made of, but it definitely seemed like some sort of soft vinyl. It wasn't sharp at all. The edges were slippery, and naturally it didn't hurt me in the slightest when I ran my fingers across it. Compared to the one Senna and Fess had, it was badly designed, had no sense of weight, and above all else, it didn't give me the sense that it would sever anything with just the slightest touch. Could it be a fake? That worried me, but there wasn't anything else in the store that resembled a dice sword. Would this even give off light at all? The dice sword Fess had swung around at her show had pieces of glass embedded in it that gave off a blue light and looked extremely badass. I didn't see a single shard of glass in the sword I was holding. Maybe I shouldn't buy it. The dice sword was so shoddily made that I couldn't help but come to that conclusion, despite how long it had taken me to get here. But... find a sword. If you do, you'll be granted salvation. I remembered Fess's words. Right, if I didn't buy it here and now, I'd lose my only chance of getting my hands on the dice sword. Maybe it only looked cheap, once it recognized me as its true master, an incredible power would manifest within it. I'm not sure about that. Maybe I'd seen too much anime, or read one too many manga. But I had sensed that exact kind of unknown power in Sinan Fest's swords. So this sword should have it too, but... what to do? While my internal debate raged on, the clerk came and stood right behind me without me noticing. With a melancholic smirk, she pointed at the dice sword and muttered, 10,000 yen and I'll throw in a free bonus. How absurdly cheap it was made me doubt my own ears at first. Yeah, that's not bad at all. I had amassed quite a bit of cash from RMT, and if it was only 10,000 yen, I could buy it simply by sacrificing a single figure. When I'd heard the price, and when I realized that it was the last one they had left, I'd come to an immediate decision. The bonus that'd come with it was a cheap-looking bangle. To be frank, I didn't want it in the slightest. Everything after that was hell. Oh, Town Vanguard didn't do delivery, so my only option was to lug it home myself. Toy or not, my excitement died instantly when I realized I'd have to carry the stupidly long sword right through the heart of Shibuya. But I'd already paid for it, and the clerk adamantly refused to let me return it. Oh... having to haul a huge toy like this down a fancy street. Yeah, they can see it, so it's not invisible. Just as I'd come to expect, the Dokyun couples, dolled up grills, and whatever other manner of sheep that passed me by, all had those same exact mocking smiles. Damn it, every last one of them. I focused intently on keeping my head down for the rest of the way home, having delusions all the way about swinging my newly bought dice sword at the innocent people in the middle of the road, viciously slaughtering piles and piles of them. And we're home. Huff, huff. I'd finally made it back. I'd started running when I was about halfway home, and I didn't stop until I got there, so I was gasping for air by the time I'd reached my base. The ice-cold stares of the pedestrians were killing me. It was somewhat impressive that Senna was able to endure this kind of embarrassment all the time. In a way, I even respected her for it. I could never do what she did. I mean, I think most people can't see her sword, but... Suddenly, a sound came from a blind spot in the shadow of my base. Was someone there? Freezing in my tracks, I gulped. The pure white smile of the demon girl who called herself Mimi appeared in my mind. Maybe she'd come back. Maybe this time she'd come to kill me for real. What should I do? Should I run? I sensed a presence. The light of the sunset etched someone's shadow onto the ground. One that I knew, without a shadow of a doubt, had to be female. I immediately readied my dai sword. When I actually tried holding it like that, though, it felt even less reliable than I'd expected it to. Senna's sword had felt incredibly intimidating, and it had this sense of overwhelming pressure that wouldn't allow anyone to get near it. But the dai sword I was holding didn't feel like that at all. Maybe it really was a fake. Could I really fight with something like this? There was no way. Even if I had a real one, I still couldn't do it. Not only that, but I hadn't realized how heavy it really was until I first started holding it just now. Maybe I was holding it wrong. In any case, it would be impossible to even swing it like this. The shadow suddenly wavered. It was approaching me. Who could it be? I shut my eyes tight and haphazardly swung the sword in front of me. I knew I wouldn't be able to defeat my enemy this way. Even so, I had the faint hope that, as long as I had this sword, it'd somehow do something anyway. But I didn't feel it hit anything, nor did my enemy make a sound. I couldn't believe it. Could that simple strike of mine have utterly annihilated the demon girl? If so, that'd be the best to ever happen to... Oh, Nanami. When I opened my eyes, the one standing there wasn't the demon girl, but rather Nanami. She was looking at me with unmistakably judgmental eyes. All my strength disappeared instantly, and I dropped to the ground right where I'd been standing.
お前脅かすなよ。
She was the worst. The worst little sister ever. Didn't she know how shitty it was to scare her own older brother like this, let alone enjoy it? Where the hell did she think she was? This is exactly why 3D would always pale in comparison to 2D.
別に脅かしてないよ。いつもみたいにお兄の生存確認しに来てあげたんじゃん。なのになんでナナが30分もお兄のこと心配しながら待ってなくちゃいけないわけ？ナナの貴重な時間が無駄に消えてっちゃったじゃん。お兄のバカ。
Worried? She was worried about me? As if I would ever fall for such an obvious lie. Oh. How are you? Hello, Darkrai. Welcome. I'm doing well, thank you.
で、どこ行ってたの？出かけるなんて珍しい
We went to buy a sword.
携帯にかけても繋がんないし。
I left my phone behind at my base. It wasn't like anyone was gonna call me while I was out, so I'd seen no point in bringing it.
そもそ
Well,
も
someone did call you.
何なの？もしかして買ってきたの？
Nanami peered curiously at the sword.
あ、わかった。アニメのおもちゃ
Yeah.
かなんか
Well, in the game, we bought a sword.
たくさんだね。しかも
I did not buy a sword in real life.
ないよ。さっきだってへっぴり腰で構えちゃってて、思い出したら笑えてきた。
Could you swing a sword? How heavy are swords? I guess it depends. Probably with great effort. A couple of pounds? Yeah, I can probably.
ちょっと、無視すん
But actually, yeah, right? Like, great swords would be really heavy, right? Are katana lighter? I feel like they would be. Maybe. No, short swords are a bit bigger daggers? Oh, I see.
帰れ。
Katana should be lighter. A Japanese sword? Wow. She'd just come to check if I was alive, then she got what she wanted, and she no longer had any reason to be here. She was always making fun of me, and every time she came over, she would do nothing but complain. She was really that put off by being here, then she didn't have to come at all. It's annoying anyway, it'd be no skin off my back if she stopped.
あのね、わざわざ様子見に来てあげてんだから、もっとありがたがってよ。せっかくお土産まで持ってきた
A
のね。
present? Her voice as whiny as could be, and she pursed her lips.
お土産？
Buy a
そう
katana.、
お母さんが持ってけって。ほら。
Nanami handed me a bag of clementines. Wow, there are about 10 of them wrapped up in red netting. Weird. Something's fishy here. I'd eat clementines if they were right in front of me, but they weren't my favorite food or anything.
というわけで、ナナもちょっと一服したいから一緒に食べてあげる。
帰れ。
もう、妹がお土産持ってきて、しかも一緒に食べてあげるって言ってるんだよ。
Phone
もっ
only
と
lines
喜
because
び
they had
な
poor
よ。
iron quality. I see. What exactly about eating clementines with Nanami is supposed to make me feel happy at all? And besides, it was obvious that she just wanted to eat clementines, and that was the whole reason why she'd come here. I was just stealing my portion to add to hers. I couldn't count the amount of times we'd fought over that. Nanami, unable to take a hint, waltzed right on into my base. I gave up and followed in after her.
お茶ある？あったかいのがいいな。
Why the hell would I have tea? I only drink cola and nothing else. Nanami sat down on the sofa and grabbed a clementine. Sighing, I set down the dice sword so it'd lean against my computer desk. I had no reason to continue carrying the bangle in my pocket, so I just chucked it somewhere behind me.
それ何？
Quickly spotting the bangle I'd thrown on the floor, Nanami went to pick it up. Does she like it?
へえ、かわいいバングルじゃん。これも買ってきたの？お兄にしてはいいセンス。
I like the snowflake. Is that a snowflake? Ice. Cute? How? The thing was nothing more than a piece of junk you'd get for 500 yen at worst. I couldn't believe how bad Nanami's taste was. Ignoring her once again, I nabbed one of the clementines and sat down in front of my PC. It looks fine to me.
ねえねえ、なんでこれ捨てちゃうの？
On a snowflake, a demonic snowflake. No.
だっていらないし。
じゃあさ、これナナにちょうだい。
はあ？
いいじゃん、どうせ捨てるならさ。たまにはお兄ちゃんらしく妹にプレゼントの一つでもしてよ。
Oh, you call it a present, but it's just something I don't want that you suddenly decide to appropriate.
勝手に持ってけば。
I mean, what's wrong with that?
本当？やったー。
Her walking fierce. As soon as she got my approval, she put the bangle on her wrist, takes it. Don't say that about her.
お兄、どう？似合う？
Yeah.
全然。
あ、そう。お兄のバーカ。
I haven't given my sister a birthday present yet. Oh. It's supposed to be a present, so why was she treating me like this? Little sisters weren't supposed to call their brothers mean names. You're calling her pretty terrible names in your head. My teaching girl. I don't think those are very good learning materials.
へへ、バーカ。
She was grinning from ear to ear. I, meanwhile, was getting extremely
こ
pissed
れ
off.
気に入っちゃったからもう返さないもんね。っていうか、お兄からプレゼントもらうなんて初めてのような気がする。しょうがないから大事にしてあげるよ。
As if I cared. No one asked you to take care of it. I didn't even get it for you in the first place.
もう用は済んだんだから帰る。僕は暇じゃないんだ。邪魔するな。
The moment I said that, Nanami pursed her
そ
lips.
んな言い方しなくてもいいじゃん。それにみかんまだ食べてないし、お茶も。
おめえに飲ませるお茶はね。
うんか。
Nanami glared at me intently, hands on her hips. Before long, her eyes started welling up, and then...
わかったよ。そんなに邪魔なら帰る。
Oh,
ああ、さっさと頼む。
お兄のバカ。お兄なんてみかんの皮で三つ星食らって失明しちゃえ。あとバングルは返さないからね。バーカ。
oh. Okay, bye-bye, Nanami. Yelling in a migraine-inducing voice that resounded throughout the entire room, Nanami grabbed her bag and ran out with insane speed. Oh, thank God, it was finally over. Hanging out with Nanami always took everything out of me. Why did she insist on coming here every week when I made it very clear I was sick of it? Read the room, FFS. Oh. Oh, Nozomi.
ファーストメル
Okay.
トは期待以上の結果に
The
終わりまし
first
た。
melt. Oh, was this the bodies that were just blood?
G レートの上昇率は当初の予測からわずかな誤差があった程度です。
GE rate increase.
バイオリズムコントロールも順調なのかね。渋谷の G レートは他のエリアと比べて高い値を持っていると同時に安定性についても特筆したものがあります。
それゆえに意図的に操作しやすいということか。そして渋谷にいる人々のバイオリズムを急激に引き上げることもまた。
実験結果についてはレポートをご参照ください。納得していただける成果を上げております。貴様が成果を出すのは当然だ。
実効性については理解しているよ。この数ヶ月だけでも我が会の信者が数倍に膨れ上がっているからね。
それでは。
The churches.
プロジェクトノアは次
Project
の段階へ
Noah
と進ませます。よろしい。
コードサンプルの件はどうするのだ。すでに3人分は確保したとはいえ、目標数値には達しておらんではないか。
いかにも。数値達成のためには最低でも5人分はなければ厳しい。
サンプル保持者は集まりつつあります。あとは採取するのみ。
ならばその件は任せる。
信仰の救いあれ。くれぐれも慎重にことを進めるように。
はい、心得ております。
Okay. We're both yawning. Stifling a yawn, I looked at the clock on my PC. It was 5 a.m. I spent another day grinding on ESO, but no monsters had ended up dropping the rare items I was looking for. I'd been binging it for about 8 hours straight, but still no luck. Meh, that happened to me all the time though. I glanced over to the side of my computer desk. The die sword I'd bought yesterday was still leaning against it. I had set it there within reach of me so I could grab it at any moment. Speaking of the sword, the damn thing hadn't glowed at all. I'd been hoping that it'd transform into some new badass form like the one Senna had, but I'd been similarly out of luck there too. On my monitor, Grimm's avatar just leveled up. My Needheart was already max level, so he wouldn't go any higher. It's probably about time to make a new character, my third after Lieselot, I thought to myself as I rubbed my sleepy eyes. EXP sure was something. It was a well-known concept in RPGs, but I figured EXP existed in real life too. Back when I'd first started playing ESO, I'd been a total nobody who didn't know right from left. But now I was known far and wide as Lightning Fast Needheart, the most powerful player in Baselard. Let's say the person controlling me had lost a chunk of my EXP for some reason or another. If that had happened, then it would make complete sense why I'd forgotten things. That could also be where the discrepancies in my memories had come from. Things like Shogun and the Demon Girl. Before a chunk of my EXP got wiped, maybe it was perfectly normal for me, the person controlling me, to post in chat rooms under the handle Shogun, and for me to live like a complete normie with the Demon Girl. No, that just wasn't possible. But if it was possible, then maybe I used to possess an incredible power that would allow me to oppose the Demon Girl. Was I the only person who thought like this? I didn't really feel like it was a particularly weird way of thinking. Human beings could only really make judgments based on their own sense of values that they come up with themselves, so maybe it wasn't just me living my day-to-day life making the wrong decisions, but everyone in the entire world. Back when I was little, I'd gone to the dentist, and I remembered them telling me, "You did such a good job putting up with that much pain. You are a very good patient." At the time, I thought I was amazing for making it through to the end, and I felt really proud of myself. Thinking back on it now, though, that comment was probably based on the degree of pain felt compared to the progression of the cavity. But even if the level of the pain was the same, there would be people that could bear the pain, and there would be people who couldn't. In other words, I came to realize that how someone recognized and felt such sensations completely depended on the person. Childbirth, for example. I'd often seen on the internet that women could endure the pain of it, but it would be completely impossible for men. Another example would be marathon runners. Maybe they excelled not because of their physical strength, but because of their ability to endure pain. There are also, says the masochist. If there were people that found pleasure in being hurt, there would also be people that derived pleasure from hurting others. In other words, I believe that the way people felt things, along with their ability to handle pain and suffering, all varied from person to person. Perhaps the level of pain and the toothaches and headaches I got from time to time actually far surpassed the limits of pain an ordinary person could take. And if that were true, then perhaps if I had passed the same pain on to somebody else, the sheer agony would cause them to go into shock and die. The conclusion I ended up coming to as a result of this line of thinking was more or less a self-righteous delusion that perhaps I was special.
特殊な人間か。っていうか、何を大げさな。
Although I denied it, I was sure that every person had delusions like this. Every man longs to be the strongest in the world. Every human being wants to think that they're special, that they're the chosen one. We all want to think that a dramatic story full of twists and turns, like the ones you'd find in TV and movies, is waiting for us in the future. Misty's aware, yeah. The so-called desire to be a hero, or to be blunt, textbook chunibyo. Of course, even I had those kinds of desires. It could very well be my destiny to triumph over the demon girl. But if that really was my destiny, and I had to make it come true, I need a number of conditions to be met first. At the very least, I absolutely needed the ability to use cheats, be it cheat codes for special attacks, or maybe even a god mode of some kind. I didn't want to deal with any pain or fear. Now let me go read the tips, actually. There should be 2 of them. Oh, 3. 4. Cheat video game terminology to modify game data using game-altering tools. In recent years, many video games have been equipped with cheats intentionally by the developers. Secret commands are one type of cheat code. Kamaitachi phenomenon. An extremely rare phenomenon in which the body is suddenly marked with a wound as if it had been cut by a sharp blade. Kamaitachi are the wind yokai from the Koshinutsu region of Japan. They have sharp sickle-like claws on both hands, which local legend states are used to cut their victims, causing the phenomenon described above. The true cause behind why this phenomenon occurs has not yet been ascertained. Trend chaser. A highly fashion-conscious person who constantly changes their fashion sense depending on what is currently popular. Biorhythm, a graph showing the cyclical changes in the physiological state, emotional imbalance, and intelligence of a biological organism. The term is often employed with the explanation of, on days when an organism's biorhythm is high, they will be in good condition, but on days when the organism's biorhythm is low, they will be in poor condition. I see. Okay. Back. Also, yeah, I'm not actually sure how long I'll stream today. I'm kind of sleepy. And I do have to wake up early tomorrow, so we'll see how much longer I play for, but... If I couldn't cheat in some way, or, in other words, if I was supposed to achieve that with my own power, there was no way I'd be able to do it. Which is why, if the person controlling me had lost all of my EXP, that would be a huge blow to me, a super effective one. Early on a Monday, yeah. Indeed. I just barely got to school on time. It probably wasn't the best idea to stay up playing video until early in the morning on a school night. I'd had to run in order to make it on time. When I got to the classroom door, I stopped and took deep breaths to try and catch my breath. Yeah, it is almost 4 AM in my time zone. Luckily, still on vacation, it's no early wake up for me. Man, it's so late for you. But nice that you're still on vacation. Full-time work for me tomorrow. Nice. I couldn't act in a way that'd make me stand out to my classmates. For me, even something like being late would be fatal. If Dokyun's eyes all zeroed in on me, my life would be over. I slowly made my way into the classroom, keeping my head down. I couldn't let myself make eye contact with anyone. Of course, I didn't give a mindless greeting like good morning, either. Trying to make my presence as undetectable as possible, I made myself invisible and turned toward my seat. That was how I always did things. Are we gonna CD me? And today was no different. I made it to my seat without any issue and sat down. Soon after, I laid my head and arms face down on the desk, and from there I was safe until homeroom started. But I only got to relax for a split second before someone's hand clapped against my back.
よ、タク。 今週は3回も学校来てんじゃねえか。真面目だな。
Misumi-kun. Misumi-kun again. Even though he was really getting on my nerves, I'd feel bad if I ignored him. So I started to reluctantly raise my head, only to hesitate. Was this Misumi-kun the real one? 2 days ago, I'd done what the demon girl told me to do and called him. When I talked to him, he'd been very clearly acting strange. I mean, he told me that Mimi was our classmate, as if it was the most obvious thing in the world, which I hadn't expected at all. Maybe the demon girl had brainwashed him, or maybe it was something else. Maybe the person controlling him had been switched out.
おい、どうした？早くも爆睡モードか？
Oh. An electronic sound suddenly rang throughout the classroom. I felt a faint vibration near my chest. It was my cell phone. Shit, now of all times? Gonna be hold call at a time like this. Yeah, who is calling when we're like at school? Not only was my phone going off, but even though I was sure I'd set it to vibrate, the ringtone was going off too. I guess I must have messed up the settings.
鳴ってるぞ、タク。
Yes, I know. Should I just answer it? But if I did that, Misumi-kun would know I was faking being asleep. Besides, I didn't like talking on the phone. I feel like most people would wake up anyways if their phone is ringing. But also, if I didn't pick up, it would annoy the rest of the class. And considering how it was ringing loudly throughout the classroom, it had to be doing that already. I wasn't supposed to stand out. This was really, really bad.
おーい、出ないのか？マジで寝てる？
Damn it. Well, I've been freaking out over what to do. I had already lost my chance. I couldn't move now. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. The sound and vibration stopped. The call must have gone to voicemail. It was ringing for that long. Oh. Maybe Misumi couldn't sustain when the demon girls play stuck with an imposter without him noticing during phone call. Imagine. Rings I sleep, alarm plays I wake up. Is stubborn, yeah. Well, he's just overthinking everything. I let out a sigh of relief soft enough that Misumi-kun wouldn't be able to hear it. It was definitely the right call for me to have figured out how to use the voicemail function.
なあ、タク。相手は誰だ？まさか女か？この前一緒に帰ったあのメガネの子だろ。そうなんだろ？
You're so annoying. I just wanted him to stop bothering me. That phone call had already made me stand out way too much. Had Misumi-kun always been this persistent? Though he had always been way too friendly with me, I thought he at least had the capacity to take a hint.
やめなよ。
Nimi. Dun dun. I heard a voice from right next to Misumi-kun.
そっとしておいてあげたら、大臣。なんだか疲れてるみたいだし。
Call should go to voicemail after ring for 0.01 seconds. She was here in my classroom, like it was the most normal thing in the world.
どうせゲームのやりすぎだろ。お前、タクに甘すぎるぜ。
だって大臣は女の敵だし、そういう人には優しくしません。
They were having a friendly conversation like it was the most normal thing in the world. She was blending in like it was the most normal thing in the world. I was too scared to look up. I didn't want to acknowledge that she was there.
ま、別にお前に優しくしてもらわなくても。
だから、そういう発言が良くないんだってば。今の大臣の彼女が誰だかわかんないけど。ほら、チャイム鳴った。先生来るよ。
Had the demon girl really been my classmate all along? No, there was no way. She hadn't been here 2 days ago. Or at the very least, the only person that had spoken to me that day was Misumi-kun. I hadn't gone to school yesterday, so I wasn't sure about that one. But when I came today, she was here. How had she managed to worm her way in? Everyone took their seats once the sound of the bell announced the start of homeroom. Sensing that, I looked up cautiously. I surveyed the room with just my eyes. I wanted the voice from earlier to have been just an illusion. In order to prove that to myself, I needed to make sure that the girl was nowhere to be found in the classroom. I didn't see her. I didn't see anything that even remotely resembled her. That means she really was a hallucination? My seat was in the 5th row from the front. There were 9 rows in total. She wasn't in any of the rows in front of me, which meant she was behind me. But I couldn't turn around. I couldn't allow myself to stand out. Damn it, this was so frustrating. Was she really here in my classroom or not? Oh, how simple it would probably be if Tucker had only bothered to remember names and faces of classmates. Yeah. I didn't feel chills on the back of my neck. No one was looking at me. I didn't feel a gaze. Was she here or not here? Which was it? Still staring at the surface of the desk, I tried to detect her by just her presence alone. And right as I tried, I heard my homeroom teacher enter the classroom. I didn't remember the teacher's name. I just had a feeling it was Tsukaji or Tsukada, at least something like that. He was a PE teacher that graduated from athletic college, and he was a total musclehead. However, he didn't really act like it, nor did he employ corporal punishment like one might expect him to. If anything, he was the type of teacher that knew how to take a joke. For some reason, the class all started murmuring about something, but right now I was occupied with trying to detect the demon girl. Did I really expect to be able to sense her by her presence alone? This wasn't some manga. Was I an idiot? Oh, transfer student. My homeroom teacher mumbled that to the class. Oh, so that was why the room was so noisy. Is this that one person we saw, like, burning the uniform? Or... I didn't hear the supposed transfer student say anything. Was there really one here? I glanced toward the door. Oh, it is her! And sure enough, there was someone there. She was extremely petite, possibly even more so than Nanami. She looked fairly timid, emulating that Moe gets bullied all the time archetype. Okay, wait, let me save. 1. Yeah, we can just save over this, I guess. Sure. Okay. What do we do? What do we do? Okay, surely it wouldn't be too bad, right? We're at school. If I had to choose, she was probably around mid-tier when it came to 3D girls. For some reason, she was looking down at the floor, her eyes filled with tears. Oh man, that was like right before the the thing. Oh, we're woozy. We want to get famous last words. We'll see. Wouldn't it be nice if the transfer student were some holy messenger sent here to protect me and slay the demon? Whoever Demi was, I had no doubt she was dangerous. My life was being eroded, and I knew that for a fact. Unless things changed, I'd be a dead man walking. Suddenly, the transfer student turned her gaze toward me and whispered that. No way. I'm here for blood. Whoa, really? Even though the transfer student's eyes were welling with tears, they were also filled with determination. Despite her timid appearance, I felt like I could trust her. There was no doubt that from an outsider's perspective, her words were blatantly nonsensical. I was the only person in the sea of confused people who wasn't perplexed by her first words. In fact, I was screaming for joy. Internally, of course. I'm saved! No doubt, an exorcist organization sent this cult to dispose of Nemi. Oh, she's here. Nimi's panicked voice rang from behind me.
その転校生の狙いは私じゃない、タクだよ。その子の言うことを。悪魔さん、惑わすのはやめなさい。あなたはここで終わりです。
Ah, he looks like every girl needs a soul while this one's nothing new yet. Signing up.
悪魔
Ah,
はあなたでしょ。
うるさいな。
by now I didn't care who the real demon was, nor who my real ally was.
僕はブラックと演奏して毎日を平穏に過ごせればそれでいいんだ。お前たちがどうなろうか知ったことじゃない。とりあえず2人で殺し合ってくれると助かる。で、相打ちで2人とも死亡ってエンディングを希望。
No, don't do that. Following those words, I could feel a rising unease spread throughout the room. A transfer student whose name I didn't know, and a demon girl who had only been in this class since the day before yesterday. Each glaring daggers at each other from their own separate corners of the room, the tension between them burning like a fuse trailing toward a pack of TNT. The homeroom teacher and the rest of the students were on the edge of their seats, watching intently as the events unfolded.
いいよ。タクの言う通りにしてあげる。私も異論はないです。
Hmm?
殺してあげろ。暗殺者。
A fight to the death?
殺します。悪魔さん。
And then they both sprang into action! And it's over. Of course, something like that would never actually happen. The transfer student remained as sheepish as ever, not uttering so much as a peep. Nimi also didn't say a word. In fact, she didn't give any indication that she was here at all. The scattered whispers grew to murmurs as the transfer student maintained her silence. So, in order to comfort her, the teacher placed his hand on her shoulder.
どうやら折原は緊張しているようだな。よし、挨拶はいい。みんな、この子は折原梢だ。仲良くしてやってくれ。折原、席は一番後ろだ。席についていいぞ。
All the way in the back? Is she gonna be able to see the board? The transfer student made her way to the back without saying a word, keeping her head low to the ground. Her seat was 4 rows behind mine. Should I pretend to watch her so I could catch a glimpse of the people behind me? Problem was, that drew a lot of unwanted attention to myself. I didn't want any dokyuns trying to pick a fight, all, don't go staring at her just cause she's cute, or some BS like that. I was at a loss for what to do. Should I look now, or should I wait until class is over? My head still firmly pressed against my desk, I squeezed my fists tightly. Forget it, I was a coward. Just the thought that, if I turned around, my eyes would meet with that girl's sent shivers down my spine. Hmm? Huh? Are you a baddie? Huh? We're just hearing this voice in our head. Kozupi. The transfer student walked right by my seat. Taken aback, I glanced at her face. Our eyes met, only for her to immediately avert her gaze and continue walking. What was that voice? No doubt it had been just another one of my delusions. I'd been feeling overwhelmed by them lately, almost as if reality and delusion were blending together. Still lacking the courage to turn around, my body stiffened even further, squeezing inward in my seat. I tried to focus on staying completely still, desperately trying to avoid drawing Mimi's attention. Okay, also, I just realized, but I probably... Let me just make the poll now, what I was thinking of earlier. How do I word this? Okay. Okay. All my new fears and doubts zoomed through my mind at 1,000,000 kilometers an hour, and before I knew it, homeroom had ended. Lots of youngest siblings here, wow. First period would begin in about 5 minutes. Misumi-kun rushed over to the transfer student's desk. Knowing him, he was going to try to lay the moves on her. The other students were clearly interested in her too, and the room had grown louder than usual. At a glance, it may have seemed like a casual, peaceful, ordinary thing, but for me, it was like being caught deep within enemy territory. My heartbeat was going crazy, anxiety filled my head to bursting, and so much as lifting a finger felt like more than a one-man job. My brain was in the midst of a civil war, one side urging me to turn around, the other side warning me not to. Two older sisters I suffered. Oh. My breath caught in my throat. My mind went completely blank. A voice had come from directly behind me. She really was here. That girl really was here after all. I needed to run. I needed to run away as fast as I could. Despite that, my legs were shaking so violently that I didn't think I could even stand. And while I was frozen solid, the demon girl, Sakiyata Rimi, circled around to the front of my seat. She's here. Just like 2 days ago, she spoke as if she were concerned about me. Just like 2 days ago, she held out her floral-scented handkerchief. I didn't accept the handkerchief, hurriedly wiping the sweat from my forehead on my own. I couldn't look her in the eye, but from how she spoke, I could tell she had a smile on her face. Oh, did she say that out loud? Mimi crouched down, resting her chin on her hands. Now at eye level with me, she peered at my face. And I quickly looked away. I felt like the anxiety would tear my heart right open at any moment. Damn it, why wouldn't she just let me go? Someone please help me. What was she talking about? Who was she asking me about? Not at all. Mimi was still smiling. Was it just me, or was her tone more of a probing one than an actually curious one? Where was she going with this? Was her plan to probe me for personal information, and then exploit it for her own gain? At the end of the day, I really didn't give a damn about 3D girls. Just like I always said in that sour voice of mine. Maybe. An icy chill ran down my back. Despite having just wiped the sweat off my forehead, I could feel moisture all over it. Was that a threat? Or could it be that she was inviting me to become her ally? Or maybe she intended to seduce me, acting all moist so she could lure me into a trap. All sorts of alarm bells were going off in my head. I shouldn't be talking to the demon girl anymore. If I did, I'd be signing my own death warrant. Are we escaping? I'd hit my breaking point. In a panic, I stood up and dashed for the exit, knocking into several desks on my way out. Ooh, stairway. Oh, on the roof. I ran straight up the stairs without looking at anyone and came out on the empty roof. It didn't seem like she chased me. Even so, I couldn't allow myself to relax just yet, so I hugged my knees and decided to hide for a little while in the shadows. Said I, yeah. About to say luring him into a trap. My knees were trembling. I couldn't believe that I'd managed to run in this condition. I guess it just showed how desperate I was. An odd place to escape to, yeah. I would have thought he would, like, just leave the school, but Is class, the school still in session? Is it not over yet? Was it over? Can't remember. Probably not over yet, right? If he was still there. I was tired of this reality. The dinosaur I had gone out of my way to buy hadn't been useful in the slightest. I obviously couldn't bring it to school with how much it'd stand out either. I'd been careless. 2 days ago, when Misumi-kun had told me that Mimi was our classmate, I'd figured that he was either spewing some BS or just outright deluding himself. But she really was my classmate, or at the very least, she had become one. There was no point in trying to figure out how she'd managed to worm her way in. She was a demon. She could do things that humans were incapable of with ease. Maybe she'd brainwashed my whole class, or maybe she'd brainwashed all the teachers instead. I couldn't go to the hospital anymore, and now I couldn't go to school either. Meanwhile, Yua was at that cafe and Shogunoise appeared online. She gaslighting. The demon girl and her underlings were no doubt getting closer and closer to me, continually hitting me with psychological attack after psychological attack as they did it. Maybe I shouldn't leave my base at all anymore. There were enemies in danger at every turn in reality. They had disturbed me and threatened my peace, even though all I wanted was to live a quiet life, bothering nobody and being bothered by nobody. I looked up at the blue sky. It floated calmly above me as the wind blew white clouds across its breadth. How nice would it be if I could become one of those clouds? The guy didn't play No, Not My Type of VN. It's hard to understand. Yeah. There's a lot of, like, you know, he really just, he's thinking a lot. Around 3 hours had passed. Yeah, we really don't know what is real or not at this point. I had stayed in the same place the entire time without moving. I didn't sense anyone else coming up at the moment. I could finally breathe. The problem, however, was what came after. During break, there would always be students that'd come up here to eat lunch. That was why the best way out of this was to escape during 4th period and make a break from my base. It messed up my minimum attendance chart. I didn't possess even a single ounce of courage that allowed me to return to the classroom where the demon girl was. I decided not to worry about the fact that I had left my bag in the classroom. All I had in there were textbooks. My wallet, my keys, and anything else important would be in my uniform pockets. I hoped. Growing slightly nervous, I searched my pockets. Wallet, keys, cell phone, they were all there. That was when I remembered that someone had called me. I had been pretty freaked out at the time, but not as much as when Mimi had talked to me. Yeah, who did call? I couldn't think of anyone who'd call besides my family. I guess there's the police, right? We gave them phone number. It would make the most sense if it was Nanami. She never thought about whether she might be bothering me after all. The only other people who knew this number would be... Oh wait, that's right. I'd given it to those detectives. If it'd been one of them, I really should have picked up. They still hadn't sent the officers to my base like they'd said they would, so I really needed to talk to them to make sure that was still happening. The caller's cell phone was displayed on the screen. It didn't seem to be Nanami's, and when I looked closer I saw that I had a new voicemail. I had the vague feeling that I'd seen this number. Yeah, I was looking at it, I was like, it looks like that other one. We missed a phone call from someone. We were at like the internet cafe, right? Or something, but we didn't have a voicemail set up then. Just in case, I checked the call history. A month has passed since we started. Oh yeah, in the game. I guess so, yeah. Or actually, in the game, hasn't it been like almost 2 months? Or 2 months pretty much? Like it was August in the start of the game, right? Late August? Oh. There were only 5 calls on the list. Okay, let me save here. Just in case. Okay. Did you go out selling the game to match the date? Yeah. Okay. How bad could it be? There are only 5 calls on the list, which meant that since I'd bought the cell phone, I'd only received 5 calls, 3 of which were from Nanami. That left 2 others. The one from earlier today and the one from 5 days ago were shown as numbers instead of names, as they hadn't been registered in my address book. They are both from the same number, 03X733X991. Considering they had gone out of their way to leave a message, it was probably someone who really wanted to tell me something. Okay, let's see. Okay, we're woozy. Guess I'd go ahead and listen to it. Okay. Who?
別にあんたの声が聞きたいから電話したわけじゃないんだけどね。なんとなく暇だったからとかその程度の理由だから分かった？でもクラスが別になって最近話す機会が少なくなったね。あんた私のことどう思ってる？例えばさ、私に作ってみようとか思わないわけ？あんたに告られたからって
So funny.
嬉しくもなんともないんだからね。そもそも私が OK する保証は一つぐらいの。
Why are you asking then?
でもさ、行動するから何も始まらないって思わない？
So silly.
とにかくあんたは試しに告ってみること。分かった？じゃあ今日伝説の木の下
Tree of Legends. Confession tree.
急いで来なさいよ。来なかったら承知しないんだからね。
That's silly. That was cute. Oh wait. I mean, it could happen. JK, I wish though, Lamau. There's no tree or legends or whatever the F at this school, lol lol lol. And who is this tsundere supposed to be anyway, Lamau? Her personality settings are pretty lackluster. I should have at least made her more like Seirata. This wasn't the time to be indulging my delusions, was it? Feeling empty inside, I sighed and decided to listen to the actual voice message. I examined my surroundings, making sure the demon girl wasn't there, then put the phone up to my ear.
こちらは留守番電話サービスセンターです。新しいメッセージは1件です。
That's an interesting.
10月17日金曜日午前8時28分の伝言です。
Oh? What is this, indeed? Instead of someone's voice, there was an incredibly familiar melody. I felt like the sound was being recorded from a short distance away from the phone. Maybe the person on the other end was near a pedestrian signal. The song being played was one you'd hear pretty often at crosswalks. It was used in order to let people with visual disabilities know when it was okay to cross. The song was a nursery rhyme called You May Pass, also known as Torianse. While there were a lot of people that knew the melody, there weren't many who knew the lyrics. Oh, and I was one of them actually. I memorized them back in middle school. Then again, it wasn't like I remembered them perfectly now. You may pass, you may pass. Where shall this narrow path take us to? It is the path to Tenjin's shrine. Oh please, will you let us pass? Those with no business will not be let through. To celebrate the 7 years of this child's birth. We have come with an offering. Going may prove easy, but returning is... Interesting. Returning is wee-oo, wee-oo was what I'd heard from the phone. It sounded like an ambulance, which felt kind of like a bad omen. Meh. It didn't actually mean anything, but it still made me feel pretty creeped out. Pass the next karaoke. Ugh. The second after the traffic signal melody got cut off, an extremely loud noise that sounded like a buzzer exploded from the speakers. It was so ridiculously loud that I'd automatically shot the phone away from my ear.
なんだ
When I cautiously brought the phone back to my ear, the voicemail had already stopped playing. What was that? Right at the end there, I thought I'd just barely heard a roaring noise. It sounded like the ground itself was rumbling. That buzzer sound was completely separate from the pedestrian signal melody. Considering how loud it had been, the only thing I could think of was that the phone's receiver had deliberately been put up next to whatever had made that noise.
いたずら
My heart began to pound. Had I done something to make someone hate me enough to do that? Who'd even called me in the first place? I could call them back by dialing the number displayed on my phone, but there was no way I'd be able to call back a prank caller. In the end, all I could do was just leave it. Besides, I was stuck in the middle of a situation far worse than any prank call. I returned my phone to my pocket and ever so carefully left the school, making sure to pay close attention to my surroundings as I escaped. Alright. Oh, on the way home. Nishijo Takumi's alma mater, Kitazawa Second Elementary School, was about a 5-minute walk from the private train station. Ban Yasuji had attempted to contact Takumi's elementary school teacher over the phone, only to be told that they had unfortunately passed away. Ah, I see. We're with the detectives right now. Their POV. With no other choice, Bana decided to set up a meeting to speak with the person who had answered the phone instead, the head teacher, Kamyo. Not long after, he had arrived at the school together with his partner. As it was a Saturday, the school gate was closed. The two detectives, Ban and Sua, stopped in front of it and turned their attention toward the school building. The white walls of the school's exterior had been painted with a brightly colored eye-catching mural. Due to his complete lack of knowledge on paintings or any other kind of fine art, Ban had no idea what it signified, but the way the spiral-shaped mural transitioned vertically into an array of 7 different colors reminded him of a rainbow. As Ban stared at the mural, cooling himself with his handheld fan, his partner Sua pushed the intercom next to the school gate. Suddenly, Ban looked around. He had a feeling that someone was watching him. There was a gaze that seemed to follow him everywhere, leaving him quite discomfited. Whose eyes are those eyes? Oh yeah, I was so close to him.
そんなにかっこいいか
He's not speaking to us, right? He attempted to strike a casual pose, one that aimed to be dandy and refined.
先輩、何変なポーズしてるんすか？裏門の方に通用口があるんで、そっちに回ってくれって。
Okay. Ban retired from his pose with a sigh and headed toward the back of the building. The staff room was easy to find. As soon as they entered through the side door, all they had to do was travel down the rear entrance hallway and turn at a single corridor to arrive at the room. There was, of course, no sign of children in the school. Although it was likely a mere illusion created by the smooth linoleum floor, the two detectives felt far colder inside the building than they had outside. There were 3 teachers in the staff room. Upon seeing the 2 detectives enter the room, one of the 3 stood up and bowed. The man who stood up was named Kamyo. His mostly white hair was parted to the side, and he greeted the 2 of them with a gentle smile. Ban and Sua showed their police badges to him almost simultaneously, returned his greeting briefly, then immediately approached the topic at hand. It was Sua's job to ask the questions.
ここの卒業生である西条匠くんについて教えていただきたいんですが。
彼のことは印象に残っています。私は担任ではなかったから、詳しくとなると無理ですが、それでも構いませんか。
Sua nodded, taking out his notebook and preparing to write everything down.
西条くんはどんな子だったんですか？
難しい子だと聞いていました。特殊だと。
特殊？
本来なら他の生徒に混ざって勉強するのはとても困難な、病気を患っていたらしく。
具体的には？
そこまで私が言ってしまっていいのかどうか、ご家族なり医師なりに聞いていただけますか。
Schools have recently begun adopting this approach, where they would avoid any issues that may prove difficult to them. They refuse to take part in anything that may earn them complaints for parents or any other parties. Such practices made it incredibly difficult for the police to do their jobs.
担任の先生はなんで亡くなったんです？
事故です。遠足の最中、乗っていたバスが陥没した道路に。
あ、自分それ知ってるっす。ニュースで。
子供たちは怪我をしただけで、幸い命は助かったのですが、斉藤先生だけが犠牲になってしまい、なんともやりきれない思いです。
西条くんもその事故に巻き込まれた。
In response to Bond's question, Kamio shook his head lightly.
あの子は当日欠席していて、バスには乗っていませんでした。
欠席の理由は？
病が悪化したと聞いたような覚えがありますが。
Bond too had a faint recollection of the accident. For multiple days following the incident, in the short glimpses Bond caught of the news, he would always see the media swarming the house of the sole boy who had not been involved in it.
あれは悲しい事故だったんですよ。
For some reason, while Kamio was repeating himself, he placed a strong emphasis on the word accident. We back at the base. I started talking with Grim a lot more before booting up ESO recently, to the point where it was becoming almost like a ritual. It never really mattered what we talked about. We trade interesting or funny at channel threads. I could show the new comics, talk about the anime from the day before, other various dumb stuff. Funnily enough, we didn't actually talk about ESO very much, but that was just because we already talked a lot about it while we were playing it. We typing. There's been some weird prank going around recently, not a lot to go off there, deets please. I don't know, I just heard about it from someone I knew. Don't know if it's actually a fad or whatever. It's like there's a recording of a weird sound and you get that as a voicemail or something. What, like a Moe voice whispering sweet nothings to you, lol. Yes, Lamau. Does that fine? Wouldn't those eyes are those eyes. Graham was still saying that. Thanks to that, I started to feel awful pretty much immediately. Not to mention, he was talking really weird in chat, to the point where it felt fairly forced, like he was trying way too hard to be funny by shoving those words in. Or at the very least, I didn't find it funny. In fact, it felt more cringy than anything. But I couldn't let myself get angry with him until I'd gotten my info about the prank, so I was forced to put up with it. Okay, that's too far. But in all seriousness, they play You May Pass. You May Pass what, like the song? The one that plays at crosswalks? Yeah, that one. And then while it's playing, it'll get cut off halfway and swap to a buzzer-like sound. Apparently, yeah, okay. Ever heard of a prank like that? It's the kind of thing you'd find floating around at channel, right? Yesterday I got a voicemail with a mysterious buzzer sound. I had no idea who'd sent it, and the contents unsettled me for some reason, which is why I decided to try and ask Grim if he knew about it. If it was just a simple prank, I could just forget about it. Huh? Grim wasn't responding. Why was he being silent? Hello? Did you die? Still no response. Grim didn't usually fall asleep like this. In fact, this was the first time it ever happened. If he had actually fallen asleep, then I guess I'd just log off. We'd meet up again later in ESO anyway. So I could just bring it up again then, but the second I thought that and began to get up from my chair... Kept you waiting, huh? I was sifting through that channel, looking for stuff about your prank. Oh, so that's why he had disappeared. But that meant that even the oh-so-well-informed Grimm hadn't known about the prank. I guess it's a unique experience for him. But no matter how many threads or boards or whatever I searched, I found nothing, not on that channel nor anywhere on the net. So would that mean that whoever had pulled that prank had some sort of personal grudge against me? I was still cautious about the true identity of the caller, but I wasn't brave enough to call them back. Wait, that's it! Since I knew the phone number, that meant I could have someone else call it for me. That way they could take the phone. You're so right. The best person for the job would either be Nanami or Misumi-kun. Wait, Misumi-kun may have been brainwashed by the demon girl, so that wouldn't work. As for Nanami, however, I was sure I'd have no trouble asking her to do it. She'd probably get pissed at me afterward. Who cares? Well, if anything, it'd be good for her to suffer the tortures of society every once in a while. Aw. But there was something up with Nanami too, right? When we were walking to school that one day. But I thanked Grimm for his help, promised that I'd meet back up with him on ESO in a few hours, and closed the chat. Right as I did so, I felt my stomach growl. Man, I was hungry. Did I have cup ramen stored anywhere? I tried looking around for a bit, but I couldn't find any. Reluctantly, I decided to head to the convenience store to buy some. Okay. Konbini. Doubting little sister? No, I don't doubt her. But I feel like something bad will happen to her. The sun was already setting. I wanted to avoid going out late at night as much as possible, because every time I did recently, nothing good ever came of it. I unconsciously started walking faster, hurrying down the road toward the convenience store. Today was a Saturday, so I'd expected to run across a ton of pedestrians, but I hadn't encountered a single one so far. All of the stores that should have been open were closed, which kinda weirded me out. Maybe I was just confused, like, maybe I thought it was 7 p.m. when it was actually 2 a.m. Yeah, like that ever happened, foohehe. But even so, it was way too quiet. I could barely hear any of the normal city noises you'd expect. The aura the city was giving off was different than usual. Lawson. Lanso. I arrived at the Shinsen Station convenience store. It was right in front of the train station, and yet there wasn't a single person here either. I was starting to get more and more freaked out. The sudden disappearance of something I'd taken for granted was enough to make me feel like I'd been transported to a completely different world. On a normal day, I would always avoid running into or talking to other people, but all I wanted right now was just to see another person's face. I burst inside the convenience store. There has to be someone working here, I thought to myself as I looked around the store. We're in. Okay. There's no one here. Okay, let me save. Actually, I'll go to the restroom, I think. Real quick. I'll just leave you with this, I guess. I will BRB. I'm back. But there's no one here who's pretty fitting for a BRB screen. I guess so. But, I'm not sure if you're still here, Xor. I don't know when the message was sent, but if you're still here, good night. I need the heart rate monitor. Gotta reconnect. Also, my cat is here now. My baby. Welcome back. Thank you. Yeah, I'm back. Hello, Speedster. Welcome. By the way, I do use they, them pronouns, so, but, okay. Let me, earbuds. My cat is so cute. She's so cute, but there's so much fur everywhere. Okay. Actually, can you hear her purring? I don't think my mic's picking it up, actually. What about now? Can you hear? I'm glad. Okay, let me move the mic back to where it usually is. Here a little now? Okay. Let me get rid of the BRB. There's no one here. It is kind of funny, huh? Volume was really sunscreen, that sure would suck. Yeah. Whenever I do things like that, like, you know, can you hear her purring? Or like, rain. I try not to speak too loudly. In case people turned up their volume. But, okay, let me get back to it. How bad could the delusion be? We go green. Purring ASMR. Yes. There are no customers nor any employees. Haha. There's no more. This couldn't be happening. An employee had to be in the back. Oh my gosh. If I were to just bring something up to the register, they should come out right after. So I decided to leisurely grab a boxed lunch, pretend to flip through a manga magazine while I was at it, then come up to the counter and set the box down. Okay, what will happen? Oh, we're woozy. No one came out. Maybe there really wasn't anyone here. Fine. If that was the case, then I grabbed the boxed lunch off the counter and headed straight for the automated door. Stealing? I stood in front of the door and it opened automatically, but just as I was about to step outside... This music. An employee finally emerged from the back room behind the cash register. He was a bleary, gloomy-looking guy, most likely a college student. He leaned over the counter and glared at me with dull eyes. I shrugged my shoulders and walked back to the register. Saws. The employee bowed his head with a shit-eating grin. It felt like he was mocking me. I was pissed. This convenience store clearly didn't give a shit about training its part-time workers. Imagine if the employee spoke to you like that. I swung at him without thinking. Oh my gosh, that sound. My incredibly fast straight punch hit him square in the nose. With a pathetic yelp, he flew backwards, collided with the shelf, then fell to the ground. A magnificent punch, if I do say so myself. I'm sorry. As blood gushed from his nose, the employee got down on his hands and knees and bowed with tears in his eyes.
お金は結構さ。だから帰ってください。分かればいいんだよ。
Glad you know your place. While I was at it, I swiped four of the dorayaki that were on display by the register and headed for the door satisfied.
二度と来るかバカ。
Throwing out that line to get the perfect last word, I leisurely exited the store. Okay, come back to reality. Several minutes had passed while I was having my delusion. There was still no sign of any employees. I had no intention of staining my hands with Dokyun behavior despite my delusion just now. That being said, I also couldn't bring myself to yell out for an employee either, so I just stood in the deserted store without moving. I wanted to believe that the employee was just taking a nap, so I waited for another 5 minutes. But while I waited, no employee showed up, nor did any customers enter the store. There wasn't even as much as a sound. After enough time had passed, I started feeling scared, so I put the boxed lunch back on the shelf and left the store. Oh, it's dark. I opted to go to the railroad crossing located right next to the station. From there, I'd be able to see the Shinsen Station platform. There's no way a place like that would be deserted, right? That was what I hoped, but there was no one there. I waited for a train to come. Once that happened, there would be a bunch of passengers that would get off. Alex, I beloved. I do enjoy night walks too, actually. But even if no one got off, I'd definitely see people riding the train as it passed in front of me. No one there. Even after 10 minutes, a train still hadn't come. I tried to convince myself there must have been an accident or something that messed with the schedule, but there was no sign of any passengers on the platform. It was then that I finally realized the gravity of the situation. This was weird. This was really, really weird. That's it. I'll go to Shibuya Station. There absolutely had to be people there, no doubt about it. There were people in front of Shibuya Station 24/7 without fail. I broke into a run without thinking. I worry about you. I ran as hard as I could. I didn't want to stop even if I was out of breath. It was probably the first time in my life that I'd ever run so hard. As I ran, I hoped that this was just some sick dream I was having, but I knew it wasn't. My heart and lungs felt like they were about to explode. The pain was far beyond what you could feel in a dream. It surprised me how unbelievably fast I was breathing. And yet, no matter how much I inhaled, the pain refused to go away. He's really running. Oh, I just realized this is... Does this say Nos Burger? As I kept running down Dogenzaka, I finally saw 107. By the time I did, my legs were already shaky. My body felt extremely heavy. Even so, I forced my feet to keep moving. I no longer had it in me to pay attention to my surroundings. The entirety of my subconscious was focused on Scramble Crossing, the symbol of Shibuya. Almost there, just a little bit further. The second I passed 107, it'd be right there. The largest in Japan. It was the place where the largest number of people in Japan came together all at once. That was why I had to get to Scramble. To Scramble. No one's there. Empty. That was the state of Shibuya Station, which I could see from the Y junction running in front of 107. A world without sound. A world that felt dead. Oh, it's just like the, when we saw the stakes, the body. Okay, I'm kind of scared we're gonna see something scary, so maybe I'll just end it here. Scared. I don't want to see anything scary before I'm gonna go to bed. So just in case, I think I'll stop it here. Yeah. Even though I know it's like building up, you know, but well, we'll see next time. Let me save. Actually, were there any tips we didn't read? No. Oh wait, just this one. Short deets, please. Short, for further details, please. Used when an online user wants to get more detailed information on a subject. Yeah. Oh wait. No! I accidentally pressed the escape button instinctively. Okay. Save. Yes. Okay. Wait, let me go back to the title screen. Okay. I kind of want to see if what the percentages are at now. Probably haven't increased by too much. 16% album achievement rate. Whose eyes are those eyes? 27%. I don't remember what they were at the beginning, actually. Maybe I should have taken note. But yeah, okay. Alright, I shall go now. Let me end the poll also. Do you have siblings? Yes, I am the youngest, 50%. Yes, I am the oldest, 33%. Yes, I am a middle child, 16%. No, 0%. Wow, everyone who responded has siblings. Yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Good luck tomorrow. Thank you. Yeah. I just gotta wake up early, but it'll be fine. Yeah, thank you for watching. Pretty even spread, yeah. Overall, not too bad. The only middle one, oh. Yeah, lots of youngest siblings here. I mean, at least, you know, three of the four responses had, you know, were selected, so for the babies. If I voted in it too, I'd also be one of the babies. Versus baby. But yeah, okay, I shall go now, but I hope you all have a good rest of your day / night. Thank you for watching. Good night. Bye bye. See you. Wait, where is it? Oh, here it is. Okay. Bye bye.